Hey everybody, I'm TJ Majors, 6 Cup car, 8 Xfinity car.
Brett Griffin, spotter for Chandler Smith. I was out of retirement this weekend, Freddie.
What were you doing? I think you got lost. I saw you on the roof this week.
I know. It was fun.
I passed Brett twice. I was like, who's that guy?
I was cursing him because we had a head of steam coming down the backstretch one time, and I seen a car pull up in front of us, and I was like, Brett. What's up, Freddie Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace and Chandler Smith. Brett, I believe we've brought in one of my 17 bosses is here today.
We did. We we got the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. Chris Rice is back in the house.
Your favorite boss?
Never heard that.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, of course.
No, it's Bubba Wallace is his favorite boss, but it's because he could not get off the top of him after the race. He was sitting on Bubba. Bubba was sitting on Freddie. I don't guess I can do that right here.
I didn't even see him until yesterday. That was fun.
No, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me back on. It only took me 2 years to get back over here. Y'all moved studios, don't have air conditioning. Could somebody please sponsor them?
We've
to get
really
them air
gone downhill. Sorry.
Somebody sponsor them. Whoever's listening, can you please sponsor them? All they need is some air conditioning. You can just bring a little window unit if you want to. Something. God, I'm sweating. That's why I got this cap off.
You sweat through it.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we're all here for
Well, we have a good sponsor, right, Casey?
Yes, we do. And let's not forget, they are sponsoring this episode and pretty much all of our episodes. So thank you, Birch Gold Group. You can get a free info kit on gold by texting DBC to 98989.
She says it's 989898, but
That's
she says like 9899.
Or you can click on the show notes and you'll find a link right there. We can't make it much easier.
What number was that? What number was that again?
That was 989898. Is that okay, TJ?
That was actually.
You've been practicing.
Yeah, that's a good job.
Well, I am Spanish, so, figured I might as well add that in.
So, funny story, we had Daniel Suarez, and they said, hey, can you count him in Spanish? I said, no, I can hardly speak English, much less Spanish.
I can teach you, don't worry.
Are you fluent, Casey?
What's Spanish?
No, my grandmother tried. Didn't really work. But.
What's it like when you have South Boston and Spanish mixed together? Like, what does that sound like?
That's funny because we had to have his fiance sit up there with us because we couldn't understand a word he said. We ran like we didn't understand him either. So
could you imagine if there was like a show and it was Daniel hanging out with Ward for a day on the phone?
Oh, that would be awesome.
It wouldn't be a full day. Maybe 30 minutes. They'd get tired of each other.
They would each need a translator, honestly.
Be a lot of subtitles in that.
Now, Daniel, I'll catch that snake. That's bad.
All right, well, back from Daytona where the Cup Series playoffs are officially set. What did you guys think of the weekend?
I thought I had good races.
Great races.
Yeah. The thing now I think we're going to see with the Cup cars is they get racy when we're all saving fuel. Because we talked about this on here a lot. You're basically setting up your last pit stop, and there's some stages where we were pushing our limits to get to the end of the stage or to the end of the race. You're just putting enough fuel in to get to those marks. And then, you get to the second stage, I think it was, we're all sitting there riding around like 60, 70% throttle. And that's when you've seen Preece and a couple guys get a big run on top. I think AJ did it at one point. He dragged a line up there in the third lane. But that's a product of guys just saving fuel. Like those guys are up there running 100%. Everybody else is running 60, 70% throttle. And that's just for the last pit stop. You want to be on pit road as little as possible or the shortest amount of time possible. And so now we're all just riding around saving fuel, and you see it get a little more racy because of it.
I thought the weekend was great, honestly. Obviously some big wrecks, which I know we'll get to. A lot of different strategies, a lot on the line. At one point, Freddie came down to me, and I said, man, are you good? He said, not really. Everybody that just got in that wreck has won a race. I need people out here that have already won races. So it was probably a little stressful for you at times, right?
You're kind of trying to do what you can do to control it. You're only in control of what you can, your own car. So, there was one point where we felt like the pack was a little bit sketchy. So we got out and rode around the back, and then they all wrecked, obviously, at the end of that second stage. And we see the problem is now, like, it used to be like you didn't want to be mid-pack. You didn't want to be 10th, 12th-ish. That was like the danger zone. Now it's the front two rows. Like the wrecks always start from the two guys pushing up front. We saw it last year at the end of a stage. Denny was pushing Jonesy on the bottom. This week it was Bell getting in the back of the 54. They're leading the lines, and they're just so aggressive having to push, and that's where the wrecks start now. So you can't even – used to be like you could ride in the front or ride in the back. Now there's nowhere to hide really unless you get in the back.
Yeah, I don't I thought the racing was pretty good. The Xfinity cars are out of control.
Hey, how does it feel to win the short track? Everybody else was racing the big track. You run the short track.
Yeah, we were in the battle. What was that? The battle with the beaches?
Battle of the beaches.
Yeah.
Did you get a trophy? You lapped the field like 9 times.
I know. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
What? So tell everybody what happened because nobody knows.
Apparently, Brad started smelling smoke, and he's like, I'm going
Was
to
it
fire
somebody
up
in the
this-
infield?
Or he passed gas, one of the two.
The other.
To it.
So he starts rolling. He's like, I'm going to move. I got to move a little bit. I'm going to try to put it out because there was most of the fire safety stuff was off of turn 4 with where the wreck was. So we're under red flag, and he's like, I smell smoke. I'm just going to move a little bit and see if I can get it out. So I look back there, and he's doing circles. So then, like, 3-4 other spotters come running there, like, hey, you're on fire. And I'm like, yeah, he's getting ready. He's moving or whatever. And he did about, 4 or 5?
100.
Yeah.
It was 11 laps, I think we counted.
Well, whatever he was doing, then the fire, he stopped and it was out. But, he's like, I smell smoke. And
What did NASCAR say?
I don't know what caught
Hey,
fire.
Brett, you think
Well, it had to be rubber on the header,
That's
right?
what I thought. I thought it went
But
out.
he's pretty
so.
smart because they put in these new fire extinguishers to the front of the engine. So if it would have caught fire and lighted it up pretty fast, it would have made it go off, and then
that
he would have had
would've
to
been
pit.
bad.
Yeah, well, he
Yeah.
had to quit because
Yeah.
you have to have that.
We had a long stop coming anyway right there, so we were going to lose our track position. We were going to have to take a lot of fuel. So
Did NASCAR say anything over the radio? Like, what?
No,
are
by
you
the
doing?
time they got there, though, he had already put it out, like from driving around. So
which I find interesting because at Indianapolis, I was spotting for Landon Castle in the Cup car, and we got parked for moving under red. So it's interesting that there was nothing.
Why
said
did you
about
move?
We were just rolling. We were done.
Why does it matter?
Like, it doesn't. What's it matter? We're moving. You're moving.
for-
Why is one get parked and one have no penalty whatsoever?
Well, they said from the explanation that I was told it was a safety issue because there was a fire. So
I mean, it's okay. It still should be some kind of penalty. Like you're moving under
You
red.
should be to the tail. You should be something. It shouldn't be nothing.
Well, I think what you're saying is exactly what I think all the time. Why not be the same?
Yeah.
Don't forget the penalty.
Yeah, I don't-
Why,
yeah,
just be
yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
Why not do the
Consistent.
same thing, whether it's on fire, not on fire, whether it's moving, not
If
moving,
we got if the
whatever.
definition of us getting parked was because we moved under red, you were moving under red. You were driving around. I know what you were doing. I'm not saying you were doing anything
Well,
wrong.
they
but
didn't have to worry about any wreckers or anything else being back there because all of them was sitting at the entry of pit road waiting for the green flag or the caution to come back out. So they didn't have to wait for that. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
what's the difference between that and Sterling getting out and pulling his fender in the 500?
well, I mean, one's getting out to fix damage on his car.
You're,
one's on
you're
it.
fixing damage on your car.
There's a fire on the car.
Okay, but you're still
Sterling
you're
was
still-
not on
I get it.
fire.
It's your car, so you're not going to want to admit this.
I
but
would say that about any car. I don't want any guy to sit there and catch fire.
Nobody does. But I'm just saying there should be a penalty. Sterling got a penalty for getting out and making an adjustment to his car under red.
You were inadvertently working on your car under red by
Was-
moving it.
Well,
Sterling's-
TJ ain't never worked on a car, but yes.
I actually have worked on a car a lot, but
To put the fire out, you were moving.
yeah. But let me ask
Under
you
red
this.
flag, are you allowed to move? Chris Rice.
No, you're not. So my point being was right here is exactly what you're saying, right? You're not supposed to move. You can't drive to pit road. They hold you a lap. So when he was literally getting a competitive advantage, that's where it should have come out, right? So it should have burned the spark plug wires up. That's not. It should be sitting still. Red flag, you can't work on them. Brad was working on his car.
Absolutely.
That's where I was like, what is going on? We thought he was trying to be funny. Being funny would have still been to the tail of the field, whatever they do for the red flag, whatever you get caught for if you're working on your car. They wouldn't bring those cars to pit road, maybe because they didn't know where they went, but like so you wouldn't work on them. So that's where I was. He was trying to put a fire out. Okay, that's working on your race car.
Yeah.
That would be my point.
So let me ask you this. We're talking about the red flag. What in your mind is the purpose of throwing a red flag?
Safety for the guys that need to get the cars off of the racetrack, the drivers, all of it, because it's a lot of people out there on the racetrack.
Haven't there been red flags when there's too much debris, too much where they have to clean up and
The
the
purpose of the red flag is absolutely safety. It's also to clean up the scene of the accident to the point that when we withdraw the red, we're ready to do what?
Go racing.
Go back racing or open pit road or whatever the next procedure is. When we withdrew the red the other night, the cars that were wrecked went literally everywhere. Like there were several tow trucks that had hooked up to cars, and when they left the scene of the accident, which they should have already left the scene of the accident with these cars, when they left the scene of the accident, they took them to the wrong pit boxes. Chris one drove in our pit box wasn't even our car.
Well, so AJ said on the radio, he says if nobody can tell him to go to pit stall 3 because he stopped in 40, first off. And then he's riding down pit road, catching signs. And these signs they're like $12,000. Like they're not cheap. And then when he comes by the 13 box, because that's where I was at, I took my headset off and I screamed to him really loud, pit stall 3. The record driver literally looked at me and went, "Thank you." That's a true statement. I could not believe it. I was like, oh, my gosh. And I got so frustrated and so mad. And I know the tower did. I know they did. I know it's a lot going on up there. I didn't. They'll probably give us some explanation this week. But, like, I didn't. I was like everybody else. What is going on? Why is it? Because they don't move. The cars don't move, right, when they have flat tires. It was 4 flat tires on the 16 car. It wouldn't move. Ricky Stenhouse done one of the best burnouts ever. Maybe you should blow the tires, like puncture the tires when you want to do a burnout and just sit there and do it.
They won't move.
They won't move. So they were trying to get them back to pit road, and they won't push them anymore. They got to hook them up, so they're only on 2 wheels. So yeah, it was.
So that continues to be an issue, though. I think Joey Logano had an issue a few weeks ago in Pocono. With this new car, how are they going to fix that? If you can't fix it because they have no ride height rules, and then us as owners, we don't want to tear up the bottom of the car because it's so expensive. So we just have to deal with it. We got to figure out how to deal with it. It's just one of those things that I'm gonna sit here and say, I don't think it's on NASCAR. It's probably more on us because we don't want the bottom of the car tore up. As you've seen when that car went and flipped, that underneath is very expensive. I actually brought it with me when Justin Haley wrecked at Pocono on the last lap. How much that cost just for the bottom half of the race car is a lot. So that's what happens is when you don't want them to drive and the bottom side of the race car getting tore all to pieces because it's so expensive.
Last time we had you on here, it was actually to talk a lot about this new car, which was a couple years ago when it was being tested and getting ready to come out. And one of the things that NASCAR sold you on, and not you specifically, but the sport in general, is that this car is going to have cost savings. Are we there yet?
No, we're still a couple years from it. I think we're still trying to learn. We've done some testing. We actually done some testing for the guys to try to make the racing better. So I still think we're a couple of years from it. I'm still going to go on record and say it will help us. It is going to help us. It has equalized the racing. I think some organizations or some OEMs find some advantages. Like I would say Roush Fenway right now has found something that is probably not illegal. They just found advantages of whether, their floor needs to be a certain spot or something because they just all of a sudden became competitive. We found an advantage. We went from running dead last at the first part of the year to where now we compete 10th to 15th. So it has made the racing better. You don't see Hendricks winning every race. You don't see Gibbs winning every race. So I still do like the car. I don't like what happened Saturday night with the cars getting drugged back to the pit stall, Preece's flip. I don't like any of that, and I think we still got a lot of work to do to fix that. Thank goodness Preece was able to get out of the car. I think probably the biggest thing, and I checked on him this morning, I didn't talk to him, you probably have talked to him, Freddie, is how many times it rotated is what got him messed up. Yeah. I don't think the hits got him so messed up. I think how many times it rotated.
Yeah, it just seemed like talking to him a little bit, and I really haven't talked to him directly, but I've talked to him directly, but not much into detail about how he's feeling. And the biggest thing I think is we talked about this on here before, like, why are we driving a car that's not as safe as the last car was? And we don't, obviously it's hard to know all these scenarios, but that car yesterday had no chance of staying on the ground. Like the second it turned sideways back there, it was a jet flying through the air. Like I've never seen a car that high flying through the air in my life at a racetrack.
I have.
And
it was Elliott's car at Talladega.
It was Elliott's car there and also at Michigan.
Yeah, that's right.
But you've seen the roof hatch blow off the thing. The window net somehow flew open.
Well, if you go back, so I went back and watched it, and then we have our engineers right now doing
that first hit.
The first hit.
Area.
So it moved. So the window net hooks right here, right? Like y'all all know, it hooks right here. It moved it down about 3 or 4 inches, which it done its job. It didn't move back there. It moved up here. So when it moved down, it made that loose.
Yeah.
And that's what made it come
so
down.
It seems like he got hit in the face with a lot of stuff, and that's.
I don't understand why the roof hatch come off.
Yeah,
That's what got me. It come off before it hit the ground.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, when it hit on the side, though, there maybe something went in there and hit the inside of the roof hatch and pushed it open that way.
Now, Denny talked about it on Accidental Metal. Do we remove the grass? How, would that make a difference?
He said something, Casey, I found interesting. He said that the car was airborne before it hit the grass. I didn't really think that was accurate at all.
No, it was.
It was?
Like, as soon as he
It was
turned, it
starting
started
to
taking
lift.
off. And then when it hit the grass is when it started that violent tumble.
So
Because it almost like to me it was sliding, and then when it hit the grass, that's when it really.
The grass enabled the dig in.
the problem is the car directly on the side of it. So the air was not able to come back over the car and keep it on the ground. That was the problem. They'll never be able to fix that. That's not a point they're going to be able
Unless we're going a
fix.
lot slower.
Unless we're going a lot slower, which we need to go slower, in my opinion, because we race better. You look at Atlanta. Look how many times we passed at Atlanta versus how many times we passed at Daytona. We need to race slower, I would say, just so the racing is better. It's tougher on the spotters. I will say that. But, so the car, when it got turned sideways, it was another one here.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So the air couldn't come back, and it was just one long area.
I don't think we're ever going to stop a car at that speed. I think the chance of flipping over is always going to be there going that fast. And, the only way to probably get that down is to get 20, 30 mile an hour out of them.
It's been a long time since I've seen a Cup car flip and look like it was a sprint car flipping because of the revolutions per second in the flip, right? I will say this about the grass, though. I'm all for if you make a mistake having a penalty, right? But at a super speedway, if grass is a problem, do away with it. It's not that hard to do away with it. They have plenty of time right now to do away with the grass.
Talladega is all paved down the back.
The front's not.
I know, but I'm saying, but I'm saying the back is. But, the front at Talladega could.
And I'm all for grass at other tracks. I know some people aren't, like Dale Jr., but
Yeah.
at super speedways, take it out. All right, back to Kaulig Racing. So you guys.
Oh, by the way, I brought you guys something talking about Kaulig Racing.
What'd you bring?
You got to get rid of that hat. I got
Good.
you a Kaulig hat, and I got you guys some Kaulig balls. I know
Kaulig balls.
you guys, yeah.
I knew that was coming.
I know you guys don't play golf, but
What are
Fred,
Kaulig balls
You
like?
can throw them at people. They're golf balls.
Oh.
They're golf balls. Now we have LA Golf, so these
Freddie
are not
has
LA
a-
Golf, but we
Freddie has
have
a-
some coming.
Freddie has a nasty slice on his golf swing.
He slices a lot of things.
I line up usually about 50 yards to the left, and every once in a while, I'll just hit one straight into the woods.
Yeah, I brought you guys some gifts. I was going to bring y'all bourbon, but after
God.
Daytona, you guys didn't need
Dear
bourbon.
God.
Y'all still
smell-
waiting on that bottle of Pappy, that 20
Y'all
year.
smell like y'all been in a brewery already.
I
I know it's
think
not teaching.
No, it ain't me.
Safe to say it's the two guys on your
It's weird it's
left.
coming from your left, I feel like.
And y'all was able to go Saturday night, so it must have
Yeah.
been a long Saturday night.
Well, we were off Sunday. It's a good day to be off.
You've been off a lot this
You
year.
guys, I have been off a lot, thank God. You guys have grown a lot since you were here a couple years ago. Obviously, running 2 full-time Cup cars, 3 Xfinity cars. In the Cup Series this year, there's been a lot of rumors as to what Matt's intentions are.
Yeah, well, we're not selling charters.
Are you sure?
I'm 1,000% sure we're not selling charters because Matt and I was talking about it. I was the guy that signs right below Matt when you have to have somebody like something happens to Matt that would be able to make decisions on it. And, yeah, we're not selling charters. We're not even interested in selling charters. Justin Haley's moving on, in which we made that decision a couple of weeks before he had made his. And it was, we love Justin. He's been there 5 years, and we bought our charters from Justin and the Braun group, actually from Spire. So it was a great relationship, and will always be a great relationship with Justin Haley. So, but, yeah, we're not selling charters. We actually have it all signed up and ready to go, and it is going to be – oh, sorry, I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, you're going to tell us who
No,
it is on the
I'm
show?
not telling you. I'm not telling you, but and it's actually going to surprise the world. I think that everybody tries to figure out what's going on and what we're doing, but we're not selling charters. Matt Kaulig's in it for a long haul. You never know. We might add a car in the Xfinity Series or something like that. And
With who?
you're going to drive it, Casey.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll take
you
it.
almost
What,
got me.
What kind of motors y'all gonna run next year?
Chevys. We love Chevy. If you can't tell, we love Chevy. So, but yeah, we're not selling charters. I just want to make sure that everybody that thinks Matt's going to sell a charter, he's got some text. I've got a lot of text. People have met with us. We're not. If you want me to say it again? We're not selling charters. We're not interested in selling charters. If somebody wants to sell a charter, let us know. We might be interested in buying a charter, but we're not selling a charter just because we haven't announced the driver.
Next thing I will touch on real quick is the Owners' Championship format, okay? There's a lot of talk about Bubba Wallace obviously making his first playoff. Congratulations, Freddie. Drivers' Championship. But the Chase Elliott car, the 9 car, is in the Owners' Championship. I am of the belief that fans could care less about an Owners' Championship.
And it's more important.
Yeah, they can.
So-
they
so-
care less about it.
I could care less about it, realistically. Why does the Owners' Championship matter so much to you guys?
Well, it pays. That's what pays, and then you split it with the driver, or you do vice versa. That's what pays, because the owner is, well, you can't. So Chase goes out and has an accident, breaks his leg. Well, Rick's car still races, right? So he's got to be able to make his money back or do the things he needs to do. So he will be able to race for the championship in the 9 car. I mean, he's going to do a great job, and we need Chase Elliott in the playoffs. We really do. I mean, it's one of those things. We need Bubba Wallace in it. I mean, it's one of those things. We need those guys in it. So you have to have the owners, like the 10 car in Xfinity is in the playoffs because it's won 3 races, and it's going to be in the playoffs. Now, we're going to do something a little different with that car when we go into the playoffs to make it a little bit easier for the fans to understand. But it is very valuable to have our owners be able to race for something, because if we don't have the Matt Kaulig, the Rick Hendricks, Jack Roush when he started, we don't have those guys, Dale Jr., we don't have racing. I don't mean this in a bad way, but how many drivers are going to get out and start their own race team other than Denny Hamlin? They're not going to do it. So we have to have these owners to be able to, Justin Marks, all these guys, Richard Childress, to be able to have drivers to be able to race. So they got to be able to race for something in case that driver gets hurt.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the owner's points is what values your charter, right? Like,
That's correct. Yeah,
So
that
I
is
mean,
correct.
The champion gets a bigger portion, or their charter's worth more than the guy that finishes 30th in points.
And
By how
by
much?
worth more, you mean earn more money during the race?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what a lot of people get confused, it's historical, and it's over 3 years that you have historical. So Charter 1, if you finish first in the championship and then 30th, that changes where your historical's at, right? Like if our charters, when we bought them, they were, I don't know, just say they were 30th, and we finished above 30th last year, and it looks like we're going to finish above 30th this year in points, so the historical will come up. Well, everybody knows that we're in the middle of working through 2025 and trying to figure that out. So that might go away. We don't know, but we're still racing for it in 24. And it does change how much you get, or percentage of the money that you get from the TV money. I was not involved in when the charter stuff started. Your guy was, Newmar. And they've done a really good job of trying to figure out the guys that have been here forever, like they should get more piece of the pie, right? Like, and then the guys that just coming in get less. Now they're in the belief that everybody's kind of equal. I think Newmar and everybody else are kind of equal. So I don't know how it works, but it is a very good system, and it's worked really well. And my dummy South Boston had to figure it out, and it's been a while. So,
How far along are you on the owner talks with NASCAR?
I'm not involved with the talks with NASCAR, but I think our group has done a really good job of working really hard at trying to get the most for the owners. I will.
Who leads that effort? Is it Steve Newmark with Roush?
Newmar, Jeff Gordon's involved, different people involved that have done a really, really good job. 23XI has done a really good job. We're you like that, didn't you? Everybody does it. They don't do 11. But they've done a really good job, and I've been very fortunate to understand the business side of it. I was talking to Newmar. And
Newmark.
No, I call him Newmar. He looks at me like I'm crazy. So, sorry, Steve. Can I just call him Steve?
Steve, yeah.
Yeah,
Steve.
all right, thanks. Appreciate it. And Dave Alpern, I was talking to those guys. I look up to those guys because they're so smart in business. Those guys are really, I've learned a lot from them because I worked on the cars. I was a spotter, I built shocks, I've done stuff like that. But to listen to those guys talk and understand what they understand has been fascinating to me.
So you're pretty far down the road on the future. You feel good about it?
I feel really good about it. I think some don't. Freddie?
Well, I
Sorry.
do.
What, you feel good about it?
I feel good about.
One of your boss men, does he feel good about it? Bubba?
Yeah.
Bubba feel good?
think
Is
so.
Bubba your boss or Denny your boss?
So I both.
He reports directly to Michael Jordan.
Yeah, yeah. Me and MJ, he drops sneakers off my house every once in a
I
while.
got to meet MJ. So one of my favorite, so I'm a Carolina fan, go Heels, and Michael Jordan was one of my favorite athletes growing up. And I got to meet MJ at Daytona. This race last year, I got to meet him. And, dude, when I walked in the room that I was in, he was in there, Rick Hendricks in there, Richard Petty's in there, and I'm thinking to myself, dude, all these guys were my heroes growing up. And I shook Michael's hand, and I swear his fingers come up to here on my hands. It was amazing.
Brett's still not talking to me because he didn't get to meet him that one day.
At the Glen.
At the Glen. I didn't think nobody. When's the last time you seen Brett in a garage? I mean,
He didn't come. He said, I need a rental car. I need a rental car. I want to come in on Saturday. Listen to this. I want to come in on Saturday. I need a rental car. Brett, why do you need a rental car? The racetrack's like 3/4 mile across the road.
Yeah,
well,
right.
I got to go here and got to do this. I got sponsor obligations. By the time he got to the racetrack, he had 3 beers.
I had to go get some char-grilled oysters. That's why I needed a car.
Oh, man.
Sponsor obligations. He said. He warned you.
You
All
didn't
right,
want me.
last thing, again, now that you mentioned this, the playoffs, and I'm curious where you guys, your head's at. I was a part of the playoff when it started, and it was 10 cars. It's now 16. That is probably 16 out of 28 contenders. Is 16 too many?
yeah, I think so. And I mean, this is coming from the guy that just got in the 16th
Why?
car. It's I don't know. I feel like it's half the field. You know, I like the Xfinity series. What the numbers there is 12. You see good cars miss it. Like I feel like in trucks, you see good trucks miss it. You know, I think it should be now. I like 10. I mean, you'd have to lay out the format differently because you can't. You know, the numbers
Yeah.
don't work out the same. But I mean, I like make it hard. It's the playoffs. It's not supposed to be easy to get in. Like. You know, it is what it is, but like I like the number 10. That was a nice round number for me, and you should see good cars miss it.
I think it's close. I do think it's a little bit too many. I do think I don't know. I think maybe 12, maybe somewhere in that area. I mean, it should be real, like Freddie said, it should be really hard to get in.
I tell you what I like. If it's going to be 16, and listen, I understand the importance of it. If you're not in the playoffs, it's almost like you become irrelevant for 10 weeks. You have to work really hard to run up front. Otherwise, the TV broadcast partners don't cover you, right? But I feel like if it's going to be 16, week 1, let's go ahead and get rid of 1. Week 2, let's go ahead and get rid of 1. Week 3, let's get rid of 2.
I'm gonna ask you this question. So I disagree with all of y'all. I think it should only be winners. The Giants can't make it to the Super Bowl by losing by 1 point, but they pointed their way in. That's my opinion, and I've been very vocal about that. I think you should win to be in the playoffs, to be able to go for a championship. A.J. Allmendinger had a 6.6 average finish in Xfinity last year and didn't make it to the Final Four because you needed to win. Those guys done a better job leading up to the Final Four. We didn't deserve to be in there. Somebody asked me, you know, we had a shot to make it to the playoffs this year. We didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. It never bothered me one bit because I would rather finish 17th in points than finish last in the playoffs. That would worry me. I don't like making the second round of qualifying and qualifying 10th.
Yeah.
It bothers me worse than qualifying 11th. So I think you should win. What do we have this year? 14 winners?
14.
14 winners. So it should be
maybe
14.
No,
13.
13.
Okay, so it should be 13 cars, right? Yeah, I agree that we race all year. Well, let's have 2 different points. Okay, so the guys that didn't win, now we're racing for that championship also. We're racing for the winners of the whole thing, and now we got 2 different championships going on when we get to Phoenix. And man, what you talking about some drama? Because what happens is now TV doesn't have enough time to talk about all 36 or 40 cars. They have to talk about the playoff guys, right? Like, so you'll probably never see Justin Haley again. You won't even know he's racing the last whatever races, right? Like, and that's tough on TV, and that's tough on everybody because you got to get all those guys in. The 6 car, if he's having a bad day, you're going to spend 25 laps talking about it. If he's having a good day, they're going to talk about Bubba, right? Because he's got to overperform now to make the next round. So I would say just winners. So if that ends up being 12, that ends up being 12. Guarantee you'll have a lot more wrecks for the win if it's only winners.
But doesn't that provide less of an advantage, like to Brett's point, where sponsors may have an issue and be less likely to support a lower budget team because they likely won't win?
Well, I don't think it's a low-budget team in Cup racing right now. I think they're all having to spend a lot of money to be able to go race.
In comparison,
They're going to go so Phoenix, if a 23 car didn't have a sponsor, they could sign one today because they have a shot.
Right.
They have a shot to make it to Phoenix. Yeah, so that is a good point, and that's on us though. That's on the race teams to go and get into playoffs. So I mean, I don't blame the 16 guys that are in it or TV or anybody. That's on us. We got to go get in it. We need to go win.
To your point, you're not a championship caliber team if you're not winning?
100%. Like the Kansas City Chiefs couldn't win a Super Bowl last year if they didn't win. Like they couldn't make it to the Super Bowl. Like, and it is a great system. And you think back when Jimmy Johnson won so many, Dale Earnhardt won so many. That was a great system too. Then we changed into something else. Is it time, or should we look at something to where it's only winners or something like that? And it's a great debate, right? It's just a debate. I'm not making that decision. I'm sitting back. I love watching the playoffs. I think they got some great cars in it. I think you're going to see some teams bring out some heavy-hitting stuff when we get to Darlington this coming up week. I think you'll definitely see Kyle Larson really, really fast. I think those guys will pull their belts tight. And, yeah, they won't bring what they say their playoff cars anymore.
So the 3 drivers that haven't won, Bubba Wallace, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, right? We're agreeing right now, at least you and I are agreeing, Chris Rice and I, that those 3 aren't going to make a championship round.
If you look at it by stats, they shouldn't. By stats. Kevin Harvick probably has your best opportunity, right? But you even watch his interview after the race. He wasn't happy because they asked him how he's going to do. He says he's not answering that, right? Like I think he would say the same thing if you asked him right now, should you be in the playoffs? He'd probably say no. I don't know. I don't know what he would say, but he wants to win. That dude's a winner. Like, he's going out his last year, and he wants to win. So he needs to figure out how to win, and I'll guarantee he does for the end of the year because that's just the way Kevin Harvick is.
All right, well, let's not forget this episode is presented by our new sponsor, Birch Gold Group. Get a free info kit on protecting your IRA and 401k with gold by texting DBC to 989898. Don't forget 989898. Can't miss it.
Huge response last week for it. So please take 10 seconds and text 989898 DBC.
One more topic before we head into Spot On, Spot Off. Earlier this morning, Legacy Motor Club announced that Carson Hocevar, a previous guest of DBC, will pilot the 42 this weekend. Is this a sign of maybe where Carson might be headed next year, or what do you guys think about that?
No, it's not a sign of where he's headed next year.
Was Josh Berry heading there too?
I think this is. I think Carson may be heading to the Cup Series. I don't think it's going to be a Legacy. But this is just another young, talented driver and he did a phenomenal job at Gateway when he got in the 7 car until I think they broke a brake rotor or something.
He was running like 15th, 16th when that thing broke.
So more props to him. Again, like we've talked about, he did a good job yesterday. He got off sequence, I think. I was kind of half-assed watching the race. We were at Bubba's. And it seemed like guys stayed out, and Kraus was out there, and I think he faded back to 7th or 8th. But Hocevar was able to stay up there and run. I think he finished 2nd, so he did a really good job yesterday too.
He managed that really well. He did a good. So, at the end of the truck race, you probably didn't watch it.
I watched it.
Did the guys that stayed out there? They had another set of tires still.
Kraus said he had a set lane in the box.
Okay, so all them guys that cycled in the top 10 there. That's why it got real exciting with them guys busting through there, which is cool. That I'll tell you what, man. I've never been to Milwaukee, but I've seen a handful of races there. I've never seen them run that high on that racetrack.
They can run all over the place there.
It actually looked really, really good.
Looked fun.
Yeah.
GMS Racing closing down the truck series.
Yeah, big deal for they announced that this week. And Enfinger goes out and dominates. Cool for him. Grant's an awesome guy.
Does that mean you're going to start a truck team, Chris?
No.
Have you ever thought about it?
Oh, yeah, we definitely thought about it. We thought about it hard last year and thought about it really hard this year, and it didn't pan out.
Is it the economics of it? What is it?
No, it's more about you need OEM support, right? Like we have OEM support in Xfinity. We're a key partner in Xfinity, and we're a second-tier key partner in Cup, and they have Kyle Busch and all them. So it's more about can you get the drivers and can you get the OEM support, because that's kind of where it's at.
That's where the speed's at.
That's where the
I thought
speed's at.
GMS. They've had a handful of young up and coming drivers. I think
you can pick out
the two's been
some
fast
drivers
this
who have
year.
been there,
Rajah's had some good runs.
The two's not GMS.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. My bad.
So what?
Or whatever.
What?
Chad Boat needs to start a truck team.
Yeah.
Again.
He already did it once.
He didn't necessarily start it, but yes, it's been a topic of conversation.
He'd like the infield paved, wouldn't he?
The
Yes.
next step.
So where is Carson going? Do y'all know?
I mean, the big rumor's the 77,
Yeah.
if we're being honest with each other, right?
Unless you want to
unless he's going to the 31.
Never can tell.
Never can tell. He announces it like right after the show drops.
Did you see? I seen Majeski.
Thanks, Legacy.
Majeski's probably lucky he won IRP because I think he's getting ready to get smashed with a fine.
What do you think he was doing?
Points fine. There's some rumors about possible bleeders in the tires.
What's a bleeder?
Bleeds.
Like he
Oh,
bleeds
yeah,
out of his arm?
because you don't know what a bleeder is.
yeah.
I know. He bleeds out of his arm?
Yeah. That was Brett when he was scratching his arm at
We
Richmond.
got a bleeder.
We got a bleeder here. We got a bleeder.
When Brett was scratching his arm at Richmond, it started bleeding that day.
As soon as that 39 took the lead, it started bleeding, didn't it? 39 is going to win this race.
I was spotting my ass off for the 10 car the other night because but we needed you guys to win, and I'm like, if this 10 needs to stay covered, I'm like, he's still covered, Bubba. He's still covered. And then he got he almost got clear of the 4, and I thought he was gonna have a head of steam coming on you guys, and he
On the backstretch there? Yeah,
and
I was
somebody bumped Kevin again and knocked him. I thought, we're good now. He's not getting down.
I think we weren't trying to get too far out, and we backed up enough right then to stay together, and it kept him boxed in. And when he couldn't get clear, I'll tell you what I was surprised at is I was surprised when Kevin was clear on the bottom in 3 and 4 coming to the white flag that he didn't go to the top because the 10 was on the top behind him right there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we wouldn't have went up with him or, slid up in front of him, but he didn't even make an effort to do it, which kind of surprised me because the 10 was up there.
Yeah.
All right, let's head into spot on, spot off. First topic, Kurt Busch announces retirement from the Cup Series after saying he is still not 100% from a head injury over a year ago. Spot on, spot off, Chris.
Well, I don't know if it's a spot on, spot off because it's a serious situation,
Yeah.
right? I think it's I talked to Kurt a lot, and I'm glad he's retiring. I'm glad he's saying, hey, I'm hanging the helmet up. But, man, we need to get him healthy is the key. But the dude's done so much for the sport that people don't even realize. And I didn't realize that I'm sitting in a driver's meeting the other day and they played a video. He's going to help us with our safety immensely, throughout. But congratulations to Kurt Busch over his career, but mainly praying for his head injury and trying to get him well.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with Chris. It's not really a spot on, spot off because Kurt, probably one of the most raw, talented drivers that I've ever driven in NASCAR. Really talented, and definitely want Kurt. He's done a ton, even after the fact. He's done more for 23-11 than as being a mentor for them guys and being there. And Denny did right by getting Kurt. That was a heck of a person to get to start over there. And one thing that is kind of already taken place is, did you see when the 12 wrecked this week? Did you see how much the front of the car crushed in?
Well, it went to the engine. It went all the way to the engine, which is good.
We hit the wall in the 500 just like that, and it didn't move. Like, we got turned same way he did, and it scared me. But like when I saw that car come out, the safer barrier and the front of that car absorbing all that impact, man. I text Blaney after the race too, just checking on him and stuff, and man, good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so glad he could walk away from that.
He was on pit road after the race, just so you know. I walked by and he's in Seabell's
I was going
face.
to say, I think he was looking to talk to somebody.
He's not a fighter, but he's in Seabell's face, and I was like, "Oh, he's okay."
Yeah.
I'm obviously spot off. He's not 100%. That sucks. I'm spot on for the career that he's had. He came out of trucks, the Killer Bees with Roush Racing, and he was one of the few guys that came from trucks, went straight to Cup, and immediately started hauling ass. When he got in that 97 Sharpie car, man, it was no time. Boom, he won Bristol. I'll never forget, he won Bristol that night. I think we had won it in the spring, so it would have been 2001. And then he won it in the fall, and he came over to Elliott's bus, man. We sat around drinking moonshine, telling stories, man. It just was it's cool to see a guy, like y'all said, with that much talent, get opportunity, take advantage of it, and win everywhere he went.
Yeah, I didn't know Kurt before he came to 2311, and just seeing the impact he's had at our place for the last couple of years and it doesn't matter. Like, if you have a question, like, Kurt's the go-to guy. Like, I was sitting in the lounge talking to him about how we thought the race was going to play out yesterday, and like just asking for advice of what do you think we should be looking for here? What do you think Bubba needs to be doing mindset wise? I know Tyler leans on him a lot. Like he's coined himself the captain of the fun department. And if you do know Kurt, he does know how to have fun.
He does know how to have fun.
And now I forget he's got a new title. He named himself the other day like the chief vision officer at 2311 or something. He's a phenomenal teammate. Somebody that we've leaned on heavily for the last couple of years, and it's a shame to see his career get cut short like that.
It was cool to see the tribute before the race. Obviously, they recognized him in driver's meeting. He announced his retirement at 3:00. But it's cool to see that. We need more of that when guys hang it up. Celebrate their careers.
Dude, how about him going and running the Indy 500, though, man? He was kind of the pioneer for any of our guys to go and do that. And for him to go there and be he legit had a shot to win.
He
the
ran
Indy
like
500.
sixth.
Yeah.
If you think about it, he had two careers. He had his career, and he saved his little brother after he came in. Kyle's got a lot of talent, but remember, he started out really, really rough, and he kind of saved his career. He talked to him, and you can think about that. So he had two careers.
Moving on, spot on, spot off. Brad Keselowski locks to Chris Buescher's bumper and pushes him to the win, foregoing a chance at his first victory as RFK team owner.
I'm spot on for this because nothing materialized. Our goals were to race out of turn 4, so one of us win the race. If we make the move into the backstretch, I'm not so sure that someone doesn't put us 3 wide and we throw the race away. The only way to guarantee a win is to race off of turn 4 to the start-finish line, in my opinion. If you get side by side before that, you never know what's going to happen. And I think we had many meetings about this. We had talked through this scenario. We had talked about where we would line up if we're first, second, third. We'd already talked over this, and Harvick wasn't in a good spot, especially as well as Brad and Chris worked together. I'm sure it's, people have noticed how well those cars, when Brad and Chris get together, how good they can be together. They talk about it a lot too. We've talked about it a ton, so it's not surprising to be in that scenario and know that they're not going to leave. If we get a run, if somebody could have got to us coming out of 4, Brad's going to make the move to win the race, but he's not going to sacrifice a company win for it. And the best chance that we had was to stay locked to Chris until we got to that, I want to say, safe spot of one of our cars going to victory lane. And it would have been nice to get side by side, but just the runs that materialized, those guys got to racing behind us. When they get to racing behind you, I've won a lot of plate races when that happens. I mean, you get out front and guys start racing, that's the best scenario to be in the lead. And it's nice because Brad and Chris have this teamwork mentality where they're going to do whatever they can to be first and second, or one of them win the race and guarantee it. And it's hard to have that at a lot of places because I've seen your guys do it a lot. They stay with each other, and that's the best chance you can. But it's so hard to get these drivers to stay committed to that, and these two guys are committed to that. If it was Chris, it'd have been locked to us until, and I think Chris would have made a move at the line, but he should, but the only way to guarantee that is to show that commitment and be with each other until that last second, and it just didn't materialize behind us.
You guys just do a really good job at that at Penske, like working together.
Oh,
off
yeah.
the floor.
Yeah, it was great.
So where you learned it?
Yeah, it was great, man. Yeah.
Listen, I was 1,000% spot on for you staying on that 17's bumper.
Last thing you wanted is another winner.
I said, please don't get the racing. You just let this 10 get in there and do something.
Yeah.
Because he was the one that I thought was.
I wanted the 10 to split the 9 and the 48 up, but because you never know, man. They get a good run down there, but it's definitely harder for the Chevys to stay linked together down, especially on the bottom. Like, did you see how far?
Well, you guys, the Fords actually have some sort of advantage at the speedways right now, and we can't stay together. We push.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the cars move up the racetrack, we arrow push really, really bad. So. Yeah. I'm spot on 100%. Y'all know I am for that teamwork, but also Brad was thinking that's more playoff points, right? So he wasn't just thinking about the win. It's more playoff points, and if he can get to 17 to win the championship, that's a win for the company.
Breakout season for Chris Buescher, man. I mean, win 3 races in 1 year. Obviously, William Byron, breakout season for him, win 5 races. Anytime you win more races in 1 year than you've won in your entire career, that's big. And he's won at 3 different style racetracks. I mean, nobody saw this coming. Roush Fenway puts both cars in the playoff. This is a massive statement they made this year. I mean, you're the fastest Fords right now. Who'd have thought that?
I mean, where'd you you guys ended up like 5th and 6th in points?
Yeah, that's
right?
what I was going to tell you, man. The biggest thing to me is is we're 5th and 6th in the points overall. Like
Yeah.
that's huge, man.
They
Where
went
we
to
were
LA
last year?
Coliseum last year, and both of them missed the race.
They were terrible.
We didn't make the race this year either.
Oh, sorry.
Dang.
We finished last at the dirt race. Does that matter?
We didn't make the Coliseum, so I sat with Brendan Gaughan the whole race and watched it in the stands.
Buescher is seated 4th right now in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm talking regular point standings.
Yeah, but like
I
even,
know,
even
yeah.
in the playoff standings
But
too.
another thing too is 2 of them wins could have easily been the 6. You know what I mean? Richmond, we were right there.
That's what I tell myself too.
Well, I'm saying we were running with Chris at Richmond. But it's a cool thing. Both cars are fast at the same time.
They are.
So,
They've got speed.
Yeah.
Another hot topic, Chase Elliott missed the playoffs, ending a 7-year run that included Championship 4 appearances in 3 consecutive seasons and the 2020 Cup Series title. Spot on, spot off, Brett.
Obviously, spot off. I mean, like Chris said, we need our most popular driver in the playoff and the postseason. I mean, it's like the Dallas Cowboys having a crappy year, after winning the Super Bowl the year before. But, I mean, listen, people like Bubba Wallace benefited from it. I mean, if you put Chase and Bowman back into this thing and they run every single race, it changes who potentially is 15th and 16th and who makes it in and who doesn't, right? So it's part of racing, and I am of the belief when Chase Elliott injured himself that's part of life. It was an accident. The guy's snowboarding, right? He's not doing anything that's overly dangerous, not at the level to which he can snowboard. So it sucks, but I really feel like, and we talked about this on here a few weeks ago, this team isn't leading laps. And if you're not leading laps, you're not going to win races. And it's not – Chris Rice, would you hire Alan Gustafson tomorrow if you had a chance?
Oh, good gracious, yeah. Yeah, he's good.
I mean, he's one of the best.
Yeah.
So it's not a crew chief thing. It's not a driver thing. They've got to find some speed. And honestly, the pressure's finally off of them. The pressure's been
They'll win. They'll probably win all of the races in the playoffs.
The pressure has been immensely on Alan Gustafson and Chase Elliott ever since Chase Elliott got back in the car after missing all the races.
You try to find ways to manufacture wins. Like you're not racing for the win. You're trying to manufacture it, right? Like because they haven't qualified well, they haven't done things that they needed to do. And what I mean by that is you got to do something different.
Perfect example is Watkins Glen. They
Watkins
ran out
Glen.
of gas trying to do something different.
Trying to do something different. And it messes you up mentally. I don't care what you say. It messes you up mentally no matter what. So we need him in there. So I would say
Spot off.
yeah, spot off, whatever you want to call it. But I hate he got hurt,
Yeah.
right? Like the drivers and people have to have fun. So we can't say, oh, don't go have fun. So, I mean, I hate he got hurt.
Where do you? So I know you like just use Justin as an example. Justin likes to go run his dirt modified every once in a while. Like, does he have to get permission from the team? Like, obviously, you're never going to tell these guys they can't. You can never do something. But like each time he wants to go run, like how does that process work?
Well, yes, he does, but we done a deal with him where if he wants to run his modified, go run it as many times as you can. Actually, we wanted him to go run his modified to race more. AJ's situation, he doesn't want to race, right? He wants to go play golf. So, but he ran the GMS truck one time. He had to get permission. But we want those guys to go race. I'm kind of on the fence when we look at the sprint cars. I mean, I think Kyle Larson does a really good job. I watch them every night. Thank goodness for the high limits racing because I do. I watch them every time they own. But
Dirt
I'm on
vision.
the fence
We
with
love
that.
Dirt Vision.
But it's one of those things where you still you got to go race because they need racecraft.
Yeah.
These kids need racecraft, so they need to race as much as they can.
I don't think Kyle Larson, I think that's in his words when he comes in there. Can I race my sprint car? Okay, now we'll talk.
Yeah. That's a box got to get
He
checked.
honestly didn't think Hendrick Motorsports was going to be an option because he didn't think they would let him race them. And he and Jeff Gordon got together with the help of a driver that I used to work with. He facilitated a conversation, and they were like, if we get a chance to get a talent like this, we'll let you race whatever the hell you want.
He is fun to watch.
And
in a sprint
it
car.
helps, and then that allowed, by them letting Kyle do that, it allowed William and Chase to go, and they go run these super late model races, and it's amazing.
Alex Bowman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bowman. He went. I mean, unfortunately, he got hurt, but he was running sprint car a bunch. He was running his midget some. But then you see the crowds of people at these races when these guys go short track racing, and it's phenomenal. Like
Packed.
what they can do for the sport just by showing up to a late model race is it's only benefiting us.
I think I'm on Chris's side here when he says the seat time they're getting, they're learning, they're sharp, and not to mention if Alex Bowman doesn't go run that sprint car, maybe he's snowboarding and breaks his leg. You know what I mean? You never know. You can't stop these guys from living life.
One thing before we jump out of spot on, spot off, I just want us to touch on it. Like when you look at Daytona, right, and I've been landing there for 20-something years, and every time I land
You
there.
had tears in your eyes Saturday.
I literally, but I get excited when I land there, no matter what time of year.
You
it
want
is.
to spot again next year? full
Probably,
time? All right.
yes. Not
Yes!
Did you say full time?
I did say
No,
full
no,
time.
you snuck that in on me. I don't know if we're there yet. But literally, I get excited driving into that tunnel. I don't know how a driver can land there and drive into that tunnel and be excited. Because when you look back at Jeff Bodine's wreck in that truck getting into one, you look at Ryan Newman's wreck.
You're saying not be excited. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you look at Austin Dillon's wreck. Look at Ryan Blaney on Saturday night. Look at Ryan Preece. It's a bad time to be a Ryan, by the way. Ryan Preece on Saturday night. Like, how in the hell did these guys have the balls? We were talking about balls earlier. Chris gave us balls. How do you have enough balls to buckle in and do what these guys
it's
do at
fun.
that place?
Because it's still fun, man. You get out there and race it. It's still, if that's us on go-karts drafting, dude, you're having a blast.
It's their job.
And they're not.
They
normal.
decided it.
Yeah, they're not normal to begin
They're
with.
not
They
normal.
decided it. I agree. I'm not getting in that car. I drove one of them Daytona ride-along experiences down there. It scared the me. I'm telling you. I rode in an Indy car one time. Scared the
No, I'm not doing that now. When I run Indy cars there, I'm not going.
I went to Indianapolis, rode in it, and my helmet wanted to fly off. And dude, I'm not a small dude. I'm a big dude, and I'm sitting in this thing trying to hold my helmet on, and I'm like, please pull over. Just pull over.
We see people on social media, even some in the industry, that are saying this racing has to go away. But in my mind, this is what makes them heroes. This is what makes them have superpowers.
Yeah.
Because I ain't f***ing doing it.
These guys are brave, and they're really, really good at what they do. And to see the guys that are really good at, like going to the road courses, he's different there. He stands out. You go to these places, we got guys that stand out as well. This is what they're good at. I mean, how many, you take Dale Jr. there, guys like that, they were always competitive, man, because they're good at it. And it's fun
Dale,
to watch.
I don't know this for a fact, but probably Dale Jr. retired because of the Daytonas and Talladegas. He loves running Martinsville and Bristol. I think he's running Martinsville this year or Bristol.
He's running
Homestead.
He's running Homestead.
somewhere
place.
else, too.
Yeah, place. He loves those, but ask him will he run Daytona?
Never.
You know what I'm saying? And
He's not getting back in there now.
That's
for
how
sure.
Elliott.
That's
Elliott
one
was
of
the
our
same way, no?
most popular drivers that's ever been, Dale Jr. So
Elliott, well, and maybe I shouldn't even tell the story, but I love Elliott enough. I don't think he would get mad at me. Elliott
Elliott Sadler?
Yeah. Elliott was sitting at Talladega under a red flag, and he said, what the am I doing out here? I'm 40-something years old. I got kids at home. I'm going to play baseball.
I got millions.
I got millions of dollars. But literally, it's like the bell goes off, and it's like, ding, what am I doing, right? But when you look at this thing, what was the first thing that Ryan Preece said in a tweet after he damn near died in that race car?
I mean,
I'm coming back.
Yeah, and he said on there, if you're going to be a race car driver, you better be tough. Like, and we say it all the time, like if you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough. Like, it's an addiction for these
That
guys.
dude has raced so many modified races to get where he's at, and he's amazing in a modified, probably one of the best since Richie Evans, I would say. I would put Ryan Preece right up there with that. Richie Evans was great. I mean, he's going to come back. He's going to figure it out. They haven't run the best this year, so now he's in revenge mode, I think.
And he was competitive in that race too. So he's got the butt. He wants to be back up there.
Yeah, I thought Chandler Smith wrecked him right there in the middle of 1 and 2. He moved him up the hill, and
when
I
he
was
followed
like,
him in there? Yeah.
Oh boy, this might be big.
Oh yeah, into one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to the DBC A main, where we catch up on all things dirt. And I'm pretty sure Dirt Vision was on our TV all weekend this weekend. I don't know what you guys caught, but World of Outlaws, Huset's, doesn't get much better than
everything.
What's your favorite dirt track?
I love Volusia, to be honest with you. Volusia is one of my favorites. It's not real dirty. That's stupid to say, going to a dirt track saying not dirty, but
I totally appreciate that.
I went to Talladega this year. And,
Oh god.
oh my gosh. So the dumbest thing ever, I sat right off of turn 4, right? And Jonathan Davenport drove for us. So I wanted to go support him, whatever. Literally had a hood on, and I had to pull it over and watch a race with the hood over. It was bad. But
It's
I
known
like
for
Volusia.
that.
I like Volusia. Dirt Vision, they do a good job of showing us all the cool racetracks. So I try to pick out the ones that are not so dirty. Donald Bradshaw, Gina Bradshaw, they're friends of mine that owns Tim McCready's car, so I watch it all the time. I watch the Lucas Series all the time.
What I know, I've seen a few of your drivers out at Millbridge. I think Chevy and Toyota both have development programs where they work at dirt tracks such as Millbridge. Yes, TJ, take
There's
a shot.
2 mill bridges in there already. What track is
I
it,
know
Casey?
you're on the fence around sprint car racing and dirt racing and how it obviously you think it helps. Do you notice a difference in guys like a Daniel Hemrick or even others like a Ross Chastain where they run at Millbridge and the difference that it makes when they're on track on Sundays and Saturdays?
I'm scared of Millbridge in the little sprint cars. I'm going to tell you, I think the way the wall is and the way the dirt ends up at the top of the wall, I wish they didn't have walls there, to be honest with you. If you're going to have all these Cup guys and Xfinity guys racing, it would be I would like it better. I don't see a big difference. I did talk to Daniel Hemrick about, those guys are good at Millbridge. And he got to race Josh Wise's car, or he rode around in Josh Wise's car. I don't know that I see a difference, but I will say Daniel feels that it does make him sharper and quit thinking. Like, Daniel has a problem of thinking about every little thing. Daniel has the most talent I've seen out of some people, but he cannot quit thinking. Like, so so that does help him. So, yes, you do see that. I think they all should drive dirt racing because when we had Kyle Larson drive at Darlington, a win at Darlington in a 10-car, he just told us he's going to get in and drive it. Because that come from dirt, right? Like, he just gets in it and drives it, and he figures it out. If it's wet, dry, whatever it is, he don't want to know what springs in it. I'm just going to drive it.
Yep.
So it does help him.
What was it like having Davenport run for you at Bristol?
So fanboy here. I like that, right? I was so excited the first time I met him. We'd done a deal at Charlotte the year before, and Brett was there, and Brett knows this. I was so excited and really cool. He just overtried. That's all he did. He done a really, really good job. He was really fast. He just overtried, and he was, the cars don't have motor. Like, his cars has a lot of motor. So, and then he ended up in a wreck. Kyle Larson wrecked, and he ended up hitting him. But he was going to be fine. He was going to learn that he needed to slow down a little bit. A lot of fun. So polite, so cool. Glad we got to do it, and hopefully we get to do it again.
Cool.
Freddie, I heard you.
Brett.
I heard you loved your paint scheme this weekend.
So it wasn't. So they got
Mine was
misquoted.
awesome.
They got. I did not. I mean, thank you, Columbia.
There's
Thank
no
you.
way you could see that.
Thank you, Luke Combs. But the first pit stop, they come down pit road. They do the pit stop. We leave, and Booty gets on the radio, and he's like, "We might as well be running a camouflage car out there because I can't see shit." And I was like, "Well, good news is," I said, "it looks just like the monster cars on track, and there's only 3 of them this week."
Oh, that was tough.
I
A couple
was
times. The
like-
monster cars were like, ooh.
Like, I mean, thank you for all your support, Monster, too. But like, can we come up with allow these guys to change the scheme a little bit because
Yeah.
they're 3 identical
Can
race
we
cars.
just
out there.
swap the green and the black? Like,
Something.
one car be all green or something.
But yeah,
but-
they sent me. So Ashley Brevac, who does a lot of our marketing stuff, she'll send me questionable paint schemes, and she sent that one to me, and I was like, I said, this is a night race at Daytona, right? Like, I said, is black the only option? The thing is all black with
Yep.
teal numbers, and she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, unfortunately. I said,
So
"Oh,
what
okay."
I've learned, I'm going to help y'all out here. We don't make those decisions.
Yeah.
Like, we don't get to make those
No, that's
decisions.
why I asked.
So Brett's been involved with some partners of ours, and we just don't get to make those decisions. I do get to make the decisions about how big things, like on the hood and things like that, which they've all fell in love with. But, yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, in roof numbers, we get to make those decisions. But, yeah, you can't
Do you
see
remember our cars last year at Richmond?
Oh, yeah.
The exact same
Twins.
paint. Yeah, they're the same paint scheme, just different
Fastenal,
number.
right? Fastenal cars?
They were, yeah, I think so.
Fastenal blue cars, blue and white.
They were both the same. I like, dude, I'm not going to lie, that King Swine machine's nice. It plays
I'll tell you what I did.
stands
I did
out.
see this weekend, thanks to Chris. Actually, he comes over the radio and he's like, "Hey, at 9:00, there's a rocket that's going to take off."
I didn't see it. You
I
tweeted
woke up
about
at
it.
3:15 in the
Yeah.
morning to watch the first one, and it was the coolest thing I ever seen. The whole, it lit up, and that. If you haven't seen the SpaceX thing, go watch it. It is amazing.
I didn't
Well,
get
I
up
was
for that one.
scared it fell out of the sky because after it got a couple miles off the earth, it just went dark. I was like,
Well, it comes back down.
I was like, Chris, I think it.
They landed on a barge, So listen,
Yeah, it's
I
supposed
watched
to
this
land
thing.
by itself on a barge.
Yeah,
So
and
when does this conversation happen?
Oh, this
over
is
the
going
radio?
on during the race.
well, it was during the race. We were just racing along. I mean, if you want to ever hear the most fun radio ever is when Brett spots for us on Channel 2. Just listen to us. I got so mad one time. I know it's gonna make radioactive, because I was so mad. I was about to choke somebody, but. We were talking about it, and I told him, hey, at 9:00, the rocket's going to take off. He's like, where's it at? I said, dude, I don't know where you're standing at, but it's at Space Canaveral or Canaveral, whatever you call that place.
Space Canaveral.
Yeah, whatever you call it. Like.
Pretty much straight south of where we're at.
Yeah.
So Chandler's racing. He says, hey, you're going to be able to see this rocket when you come off of turn 2. Chandler goes, oh, that's cool. Inside. Matt
That's what Chandler needs. One more thing to think about out there.
Matt goes, I told him I was going to wake up at 3:30 and watch that rocket. So I did, watched it, whatever, and got up the next day. He said, did you video it? I said, no, I didn't video it. It's going to be just a blob going up in the sky. But it was awesome.
Little dot going up.
Yeah, if you have Starlink, they was taking another Starlink up. And they're working on the 2 that are down right now, I guess. And you literally can YouTube and watch these people working on it right now.
Really?
It's actually cool.
Oh, so there were humans in there?
Yeah, it was 7 of them in the one at 3:30.
Wow.
The second one at 9 o'clock
Dude.
was taking the space link up.
SpaceX does a lot of
like
stuff.
We're about to get some
Starlink.
tweets saying this is not a space
NASA
podcast.
podcast.
Just
Yeah.
when I
SpaceX
thought the
podcast.
drivers were crazy, you're telling me people are flying a rocket to space. I'm good.
When
I'm
was
gonna
that?
They
stay right here.
high-fived each other when they got up there, too.
Was he looking at that rocket?
It was like
when
this. You ready? It was like,
Was that when Chandler looking at that rocket when he drove Preece up the racetrack? Is that what
The rocket was earlier.
All right, well,
that
back-
was Brett's stance. Say, wide open.
Gotta go.
Push. All you can push. He said the engines, he lost the draft, like in which I knew
saw
was
that
going to
earlier,
happen.
yeah.
Is that what happened? I thought we were just working on qualifying for him for Talladega.
And then as he's losing the draft, he's like, RPMs are down.
Well,
RPMs are going down. I said, Brett, I know they're going down because he has no draft anymore.
Yeah.
He says it's huckabucking. What's a huckabuck?
And you sure you want him back?
Oh, absolutely.
We went back there to run a fast lap to help the, you know how they,
Metric.
yeah.
Yeah, you're the reason we lost it. You and the 47 are the reason we lost it. We were trying to play with y'all, and y'all just
Well, you should have played harder.
y'all just flipped us off and left us.
You have to stay wide open.
Well, I don't really know where this conversation went to, but don't forget to catch DBC on Dirt Vision every single Wednesday. Don't want to miss it. Let's move on to Reaction Theater.
Hey, y'all motherfuckers, if one of y'all don't put Austin Hill on the What an Idiot this week, then I don't know what to tell you. But he just tried to big the entire Xfinity Series field there. I don't know what he was thinking or what he was doing, but I guess if you block him, you get I don't know what to tell everybody. So he thinks he's hot
Is
shit
this Trevor?
over there. Anyway, that was
gonna
fucking
ask.
stupid. I don't know what y'all think, but somebody needs to put him on What an Idiot. If y'all don't, he's on mine. Holla.
Holla.
I don't, what did he do something in the cup race? I don't think so.
No, he's talking about.
Xfinity.
He's talking about. Which I think that was not the time to make that move. Like
Way early.
Let's get rolling and then try to do that. Like
Yeah, but
all
it
you're
still
going to do
doesn't
is
matter.
kill our line, and the bottom line was going to take off.
That's irrelevant, though. The part that shouldn't have happened is the guy swerving around in front of him.
That guy in front of him was doing a lot of swerving.
Yes, but at some point you got to realize the guy is close enough and he's going to be there, and you can't keep doing that.
For the
So-
first time in a while, Austin Hill was not the best car in that race. The 2 car was better
2
than
was
the
faster.
21.
Yeah, 2 was
Creed
fast.
was better than Hill. I actually talked to Brandon Benesh, who spots for Creed yesterday, and I'm like, what were you doing down the backstretch when you went to take the lead, when you lifted and got loose? And he's like, and then Brandon's explaining it to me, but he did say that Sheldon has put in a lot of time studying film, and it was showing up. They were making a lot of really good moves. Chris probably loves when I don't spot Xfinity, and I'm sitting at home
Just
watching on
texting
TV.
him nonstop.
I'm like, Chris, do we not want a Kaulig car to lead this race? What the are we doing out here?
I don't know, but desperate people make desperate moves. That's where I'll leave it.
This is pretty awesome right here.
This one's
Nicole, you still there? Nicole? What the hell?
Amazingly, we got a wrong number.
just the wrong number.
That's weird.
Nicole, call that lady back. Will
Yeah,
you?
Nicole.
Hey, just want to give a big shout out to the 9 crew this week. Let me tell you, they put in a lot of effort and put in a dominating performance. So way to go, Scott Dixon, getting your second win back-to-back at Gateway.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
Just really, really bringing some honor to that 9 team, showing what the number 9 can do in victory lane. Have a good night.
That was funny.
Did you see? Did you watch any of the IndyCar stuff? No. Did you
I
see
see-
Will Power?
And Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So McLaughlin got in the grass leaving pit road, right?
Yeah,
and
clipped
spun
the
out.
apron.
Yeah, clipped the apron or whatever, and spun out into the grass. And Will had to swerve up the racetrack. I think he overreacted a little bit, but he went up the racetrack and couldn't get it turned, and he hit the wall. And then they interviewed him. He was like, "What did he say?
He said, I seen some dumbass down
Some
there. and it
dumbass,
spun
his
out."
teammate."
And then Scotty put it on the poll the next day and said, "Not bad." His tweet was
Yeah.
not bad for a dumbass.
Hate it. That's pretty funny.
That's funny.
I think
Scotty is funny.
Dixon's conversation with Bubba was really what propelled him to win.
Probably, yeah. Bubba called Scott and told him to get
Hey,
after
buddy,
it.
get after
yeah,
it
man.
today.
Hey, Freddie, y'all did it. Y'all made the playoffs. Y'all beat my man Chase. Congratulations, Freddie.
I was waiting for a punchline there.
No, that's it.
I was getting some kind of backhanded compliment somehow.
You must call that guy. He must be on a 1-800 line. You needed somebody. He had the calming voice. He had a very calming voice.
He definitely wasn't in the hot tub.
No, not yet.
We got a group. You know the group that calls in? They're in, what do you call them?
They're
They
in
got-
they're
Groupies?
They're probably in the ice bath this week. I
Yeah,
think.
we had a group of like Blaney fans and Chase fans that say they're in the hot tub every time they have a bad week together.
They're
and
in the
this
tub
guy,
drinking.
Drinking
he's
beer.
definitely in the hot tub.
Hey guys, great race here at Daytona. Tell Brad he can send a $1,400 check to my PayPal for selling the race and not trying to pass Chris Buescher. So, I mean, TJ, that's a failure on you in my opinion. But great race, great time. Just really needed Brad to win. Go all there. Had a parlay with the two of them. It was great.
I always say this, like, anytime people complain about something, it's directly related
To the
to
money.
their DraftKings lineup or there's whoever
Yes.
they've bet on that day.
I still think the move into three is too early.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen,
it's risky.
you did phenomenal, TJ. That's all I can tell you.
How much did you have on it, Freddie?
No, I didn't have.
Just your playoffs.
Just my playoffs. Just my entire season was on that line there.
Oh boy, we got to give it to NASCAR. We complain a lot about everything they do, but they got this safety thing done right. After Blaney's hit Nashville, Blaney's hit tonight, and Preece flipping through the air, everybody walked away. You got to love that. That ain't the result I wanted tonight, but at least Freddie's happy. Go 12.
Go 12.
Go
Oh,
12.
That's
There
our
he
guy.
is. Yeah.
That's our guy.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, what they've done to the front of them things and just the crash impact itself. Obviously, I think there's some stuff they got to work on with Ryan's wreck, and I know they took the car back to R&D. I'm sure to go through
I'm
it
sure,
and see everything. And it's hard to simulate that. You know what I mean? Like you can't how are you going to simulate that wreck and know
Yeah.
everything, beforehand? So they'll learn from it like they did with the front clips and hopefully get it safer.
Yeah, and thanks for noticing NASCAR has done a good job, right?
Yeah.
Like, because we always beat them up. I'm the first one to beat them up. But yeah, when they built this car, the facility that they use was shut down because of COVID. So they're just into that facility back working, and I mean they crash a lot of cars. If you remember the way they had to do it, this car to begin with, they actually took a live car with somebody driving it and wrecked it at Talladega. Like that was the way. So they're doing a good job, and it's not costing a bunch of money, thank goodness. So yeah, thank goodness that both of those drivers, all the drivers, walked away. Actually,
Those are two scary wrecks. And both of them guys to be at home today and back, I think they keep Preece for observation. But he,
Yeah, it's just
he
test.
got out of the car. He got out of the car and was standing there. So, to big credit to NASCAR for keeping these drivers safe and the violent wrecks that we can have unexpectedly at times, man. We see these guys go out there and we don't know. We have so many safe races, we kind of forget what can happen at times. And when bad
the
stuff
last two
happens-
races have not produced any wrecks. Think about this, right? And then we have something like that. The
Yeah.
last two races before Daytona, so that was.
I
pretty
couldn't
neat.
talk. I mean, after watching him flip like that, and not knowing how he landed, not knowing if the halo bars held up, I couldn't talk.
It's I saw it. It started right behind us, and I just see a car spinning, see a car flipping through the air, and it's like you're like, holy, that was scary. Then it comes to rest, and they zoom in on it, and I realize it's Ryan, who is somebody I've known since he's 10 years old, and I'm like, oh my God! Now I run down to Andy to talk to Andy. Andy's talking, trying to talk to Ryan still. So it's just like it's like two gut punch. You get a gut punch, like, holy cow, that car's. This guy, whoever that is, and then it's like somebody that I've known for half his life probably. So it was like I said, to your point, like you're speechless in that moment. You're just like, please get out. And then when he did finally, you can finally start breathing again.
We're all scared at that point in time. If you see it, like we all saw it from the same angle. We saw that car go to the bottom. It's like, oh, somebody's spinning. Then it went from like, oh no. Like as soon as you saw how high it got and it dug in and started flipping around. I mean, I don't want to see that again from my view. I don't want to see that again. But, thankfully our cars are as safe as they are, and these guys are ready to go. I mean, if there was a race tonight, he'd probably be in it. Ryan's he's tough, man. He comes from
He lives close to here, right? So you better go see him.
Yeah. He's like just
Yeah,
Kannapolis.
he's
got a big farm.
It's 9 damn acres.
Maybe you can get that horse
How
track.
big
deal
is
out
9 damn acres? Is that like 9 acres?
Well, that's an inside joke for Doug Campbell, he's got a big damn farm, 9 damn acres.
It's funny.
Oh, God.
Sorry about that. I went to the store and I got lost.
It's Tyler.
Bet you thought I went and put up the pen and quit with the rapping. No, wasn't my intention, didn't mention that won't happen though. Overfill my plate, took a break to fix my mental. Incidentally meant to because I found my true potential. The best believe me when they see that NASCAR rapping genie. They get greasy, betting greedy, dreaming I'm up on DBC. Now it's down to Daytona to wrap up the regular season. As if these speeding demons needed a reason to get heated. Honestly thought I'd be snoozing, keeping it a buck. After what we saw at Dega, didn't think I'd give up.
We interrupt your scheduled programming for an inconveniently timed
commercial
advertisement during a sport
of
that
all
is
times.
essentially a walking billboard.
Brought back memories of impatiently waiting with bated, elated. Seen that pack through out racing, but no, I hated watching Preece flipping crazy. How long is it gonna last? For the love of all things holy, just get rid of the grass. Visuals be damned, it's not worth their safety. It's bad enough that we have wrecks like what happened to Blaney. How about fix it first instead of fixing it after? It's like we're reading the same book on different chapters. Amazing racing, otherwise was happy to see it. I'm proud of Fred and Bubs and that whole team for actually reaching the playoffs. TJ doesn't suck, but it sucks to beat TJ. I guess you can have it your way if you're spotting for BK. Nah, it's great to see that team finally succeeding. It's been a minute since the cars were up there regularly leading. 17, looking mean, turn the season to a remix. He's on fire, Ricky Bobby might just be that guy in Phoenix, yo. Dirty Mo, Tyler Gray.
That's clever. I
That
guess you
was
can't have it your way if you're spotting for BK. That's very clever.
This guy's good. Tyler's really good.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, Tyler. He's made a bunch of rap songs for us, and they're all.
I mean, just think he made that since Saturday night.
Yeah, and he probably sent it in. Like,
He sent it in this morning.
He's done it from Sunday races to Monday recordings.
Yeah, like he would do it like on a Sunday night when we ran.
Yeah.
You know, we'd have like night race. He'd
I
call
don't think
in.
he does it in his basement.
I don't know where he does it. He's
dude.
I don't wherever he does it. He's doing a.
I mean, everybody was the ones that don't have headphones on. Could they
were
hear?
confused.
So
No.
we're sitting here bouncing, and they're just sitting there like this.
Yeah.
What's that party where they just put headphones on?
Silent.
That was all us bouncing. They sitting there like.
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you so much to those who submitted calls. Don't forget to leave us an audio message 24/7. Call our new number, 704-802-9572. TJ, should I say that in a different format? Just let me know.
Casey, I'd like to make my meetings later today.
Go to anchor.fm/DoorBumperClear. You'll see that message icon, and we will keep playing the best ones.
Racing season is well underway, and it's time to go full throttle. Feel the excitement every lap like never before with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly, no matter what goes down on the track.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now with the code CLEAR. New customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code CLEAR only on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Let's move on to Ask DBC. Use hashtag AskDBC. We will keep selecting those questions. This first one is from Bradley. Who was the closest driver to sign that never did sign and drive for Kaulig? Chris.
I think this just happened a few weeks ago, didn't it?
Would you like to share?
Ask that one more time. That took me off guard.
Who is the closest driver to signing that you never actually signed?
Oh, Kyle Busch.
Interesting. Last year?
Yeah, I mean, he drives the Xfinity car now, but we're talking about Cup. Yeah, we got pretty far down the road. I'm glad he's at RCR though. I will look everybody in the eye and say he's massive. That dude's good. Were we ready? Probably not.
You probably weren't ready for.
Yeah,
Kyle
we
Busch.
probably wasn't. But yeah, that's one that it got me messed up. That signed but didn't drive. I had to listen to it one more time.
Brett, you said a few weeks ago it happened. Did it happen to somebody else? where you didn't sign somebody?
Chris signs my paycheck, so I'm not telling him.
Mine too.
We're not talking about that.
I got one in my mailbox right now.
It's probably an uphill battle with a downhill conversation.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying, guys.
It is a uphill, yeah. But it's that I learned a lot. I'll say that as running a race team or trying to find drivers and stuff like that. But yeah, that would probably be the one. That's a great question, though. My goodness.
Thanks, Bradley.
Fans are smart.
Who were you going to say, Brett? You want to tell me off the air?
No, I'm good.
We'll talk about this later.
Oh, this next one is from Chris.
No, it's for Chris.
Sorry. This next one is from Elliot. How many South Boston bologna burgers have you had in one sitting?
Is this from Elliott Sadler?
I wonder
It's
which
not-
Elliot.
No,
this
it's
is.
just coincidentally
Wow.
from an Elliot.
So I was 340 pounds growing up. So that's the biggest I got. So Elliott Sadler had one sitting, but let's say one day. Elliott had 16 one night. I had 11 that same night. So I couldn't eat as many as him. But, yeah, I've had 11, and I would put mustard on them and onions. And let me tell you something. The next day, I remember it. I remember the next day more than I do the bologna burgers. But it was, yeah, they're so good. Oh, my gosh.
Your mom, Kathy Rice, how long was she president of South Boston Speedway?
30, I think we calculated 36 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's a lot of bologna burgers.
That's a
over
lot
there.
of bologna burgers. You asked me how she's doing, and she's had a lot of. My mom had a birthday, and she's getting older, and she's had a lot of people in her life that are either sick or passed away. So she's had a rough couple of months. And I told her the other day, I got to see her yesterday at my daughter's baby shower, and I told her that I love her and I appreciate her, and I know she's had a bunch of tough months. So thanks for asking. About
Hold on a second. Did you say your daughter? Are you going to be a grandfather?
No, my name's gonna be Pappy. I'm not a granddad. It's gonna be Pappy. And she goes, "Why do you want to be Pappy?" I collect bourbon. So like, if you have bourbon that is collectible, I have a whole bourbon room. I collect bourbon. It's one of my things I love to do. And I want Pappy because why? You can't open Pappy, and it's the most expensive. So when that baby calls, "Hey, Pappy," yeah, that's me.
That's me.
Yeah.
Love it. Let's move on to what an idiot. I'm afraid to ask who might want to go first here.
I might have a surprising one.
I had one guy that's not in it is the guy that picked me up on the golf cart where we parked under the grandstands there, and he said, "Hey man, you don't suck. Freddie sucks." And I said, "Thanks for the ride. I'll bring it up." His name was RJ. So RJ thinks you suck. You know what else doesn't suck?
Getting a golf cart right.
Getting sandwiches and ice cream and drinks to the
How
roof.
about ice cream on the roof in
I
a
know,
freezer?
Man. Yeah. It wasn't plugged in, but it was the thought that
It was plugged in on Saturday.
It did. It wasn't plugged in on Sunday. Saturday wasn't plugged
Sunday,
in.
it wasn't nobody there.
It wasn't plugged in.
I can't
on
believe we
Saturday.
I ate a Italian wrap
They've been doing this
with
for a
with
while.
the jalapeno chips.
Right after you quit, they started bringing stuff
Yeah,
up.
it was really nice. It was like, "Hey, thanks guys for getting rid of Brett. Here's some sandwiches." But
I
the track
enjoyed it.
president, I think Frank Kelleher, is that right? Yeah,
Yes.
he's responsible for it. So thank you for that. It's a real nice gesture and very much appreciated.
So what we needed to do was get rid of Chip Weil all along. Once we got rid of Chip,
Well,
we
that's
started
your
getting
buddy,
food.
Chip. I
Right?
mean,
We'll take food. He's
I
a bulldog.
love Chip. Don't get rid of Chip.
Chip's a Bulldog fan. We don't speak during football season.
You're a Cock fan, so
I
come
am.
on.
Go Cock. We're playing your Heels first game in 2 days.
I'd
Let's
like to
go
point
Heels.
out the shirt that I'm wearing, Brett. So
I can't
just-
see you, so
just don't forget.
I can't
who-
see her behind you.
You're a
Freddie.
Tennessee fan.
take a picture.
I can't see her behind you. Don't worry.
TJ can't see you either.
I know. I've been staring at Chris Wyndham's car.
How are you from Florida and you're a Tennessee fan?
Well, I went to UCF, and we are national champions. I'd like to
Casey.
call that
You're the
out.
only,
The
you're the
song.
only 10 I see
It
here.
was-
But
sport.
but my uncle is a coach for Tennessee, so
The only people that look good in orange are people picking up trash on the side of the road.
My gosh.
Who's your idiot, Brett?
Holla.
Brett's
Brett.
now the idiot.
Casey for wearing orange. My what an idiot. Man, it's a pretty long list of people to pick from.
Oh, Brett goes by the
But-
track. One weekend, he has a list.
I've got to say that allowing the 6 car to do what they did with no penalty is completely a what an idiot moment. I don't know who made that decision. Brad Keselowski had a problem, okay? His car was on fire. He elected, as he should have, to try to take a measure to, A, not pass the pace car, but B, put his fire out, which obviously he did. However, he can't be able to do that. It changes the entire lineup and outcome of the race by letting him do that. Because it's easy to say, oh, it's driver safety, we're going to give it a pass. Well, what if Sterling Marlin says his was driver safety? He was scared he was going to blow a tire going in the next corner. We cannot allow people to work on cars during the red flag, and that's exactly what happened. So whoever made the call to let that go, you're my what an idiot.
You might be an idiot if you think a fender rub is an immediate.
TJ, I know if this were not your car,
Well, I
if
just
this
think
were
there's-
Freddie's car and
I don't
you were
care
running
if you black
second,
flag. I don't
you
care
would
if
be
you give a
burning this
penalty.
down.
No, I was actually getting ready to drive Brad to a fire truck because there was none near him there, because I didn't want him to burn to the ground right there. So, but
They would have
I'm
gave him
gonna
his
go-
spot back.
I don't care if they do or they don't. I just don't want him to catch on fire. Fire is scary. So
I agree with that 100%. It is scary.
But nowhere did I ever worry with Sterling Marlin was in immediate danger with a tire
At
rub
no
sitting on the
point was
backstretch.
Brad Keselowski going to burn to death in that car.
How do you know?
I mean, dude, it's
Because
a
he
fire.
would have taken his seatbelt off and got out.
I mean, you're comparing fire to a tire rub.
I am making an example.
A fire to
But
a
you can
tire
take it
rub.
as far as you want to take it. What you did should not be allowed.
I don't care if you do black flag him. I just didn't want to burn to the ground there.
And you're not
I'm
gonna burn to
saying,
the ground.
But I don't want I don't think sitting on the backstretch catching fire, the guy's just sitting there because you think it's.
I didn't say you should sit there.
Don't worry about it.
I shouldn't say you. I did not say you should sit there.
The
I
10
said
car
you
would have won.
did-
You might
did-
want to continue this.
Yeah,
Just
no
compare
good.
to fire to a tire rub.
I said
so
you
keep on
did.
going
I
right
said
here.
you did what you should have done, and they screwed it up.
I mean, they said it was a safety issue.
You,
so I'm
what
all
you're
for it.
saying is you're not calling TJ what an idiot.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, I didn't
I'm not
make,
calling
none
Brad
of us
an
made
idiot.
the decisions.
I'm not calling Brad an idiot. It is what it is. It's
So
their
you're
game.
who you calling it? Sounds like I know.
Whoever let him do it with no penalty.
So my one idiot is Bubba Wallace. And this is literally the last green white checker. We were in line just pushing that. I said, "We got."
Oh, is this what I brought up already?
Did you bring it up earlier?
On the way in, when you came down to me and said, "Hey, we lost all our teammates."
Oh no.
Oh, that doesn't count. I mean, that is.
listen. I moved up. Thought you were coming with me.
Freddie comes down there. Hey, we lost all our teammates. We're considering you. We're staying with you. You're our teammate now. I said, all right. So I told Brad 5 laps in line. Then he goes to the top and bails on us.
As
Like,
soon as
okay.
the top line came, what do? Like
Pick
you
it
pull
up.
up. So I thought you were coming with me when I moved up there. You didn't.
You need to then you went backwards.
Well, yeah, because everybody started to save fuel behind me. It was not a good idea. But
You left your teammates right in front of you. Huh? There they go.
So obviously we needed we did not need a new winner. So I'm spotting basically the last lap for the 10 car. Like I'm telling Bubba what's going on. I'm basically MRN at this point. I'm just commentating the front of the race. So whatever, we run through 3 and 4. We're coming to the line. And right before the line, we were probably running 8th or 9th. And right before the line, I said, all right, boys, we're in. And when I said that, Bubba thought the race was over and lifted. And we got ran over from behind.
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh.
oh, what are you doing? And after yesterday, I'm like, did you lift when I said we were in? He said, yeah. He's like, I just felt like the whole weight of the world was off my shoulders at that point. And I said, well, guess what you're getting today? You're getting a One Idiot Award. He also wanted me to give it back to Amanda from a couple weeks ago, where she still doesn't know where we practice and qualify at. So shout out to both the Wallaces for winning.
Hey,
this
we could
week's
put
One
Denny on
Idiot.
your list probably because it wasn't but a handful of weeks ago where he's saying Chase Elliott will make the playoffs. Pretty sure
Well,
that
he
was.
did. He made the owner's championship.
But honestly, Bubba makes up for it because he actually thanked his wife in an interview, which honestly,
Oh,
Chad,
my
listen
gosh.
up, never really happens. So good job, Bubba.
Do I get one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, 4 or 5 if you want.
So,
Whatever you want.
no, my number one, what an idiot, is Freddie.
Oh, God.
Freddie.
We hear that a lot.
So him and Chandler are like oil and water, and they want to be more together. And they're racing, doing a good job. Chandler makes a move. The 11 couldn't go with him, so Chandler starts freaking out. Well, Freddie falls right into it with him and goes, yep, we'll see that at the end of the race. I'm like, oh, my gosh, you got to remember Chandler's not but 21. He's not going to so like, what an idiot. Be a dad. Don't be a cheerleader about So, no, not what
we
an
have
idiot.
enough meetings about working together that I get a little upset when we don't
You
work
do get
together.
it, but it was so early. He was like, don't get so upset. Oh, my gosh. So Freddie's my what an idiot. But feeding into Chandler's fire. How about that?
I want NBC to look at something, and you guys hear me out. Football is coming. All right.
Oh, you can't wait.
I'm excited. I get to
this
stand
weekend.
on the sideline of Wake Forest and Elon. It's coming
Awesome.
up Thursday. Yeah.
So Tony Romo, everybody loves Tony Romo in the booth because he tells you what's about to happen and what the quarterback's looking for in the defense.
He explains
I was
things.
trying to watch the Xfinity broadcast on Friday night, and they cut to Dale Jr., they cut to Jeff Burton, they cut to Kyle Petty, they cut to Dale Jarrett, they cut to Brad Daugherty for some reason. I don't know how much he knows about drafting, but anyway, as a race fan,
He was a high draft pick.
He was a high draft pick out of the University of North Carolina. The Tar Heel basketball players love to own race
That was
teams.
good.
So when I look at this
Because they made a lot of money because they good.
yeah, here's what I'm all for at the Xfinity plate races or super speedway races. Give me a guy in the booth like Rick Allen and give me Dale Jr. Because Dale Jr. knows everything that's happening, why it's happening, what drivers are looking for, and what drivers are trying to prevent. I don't need 17 people telling me completely 17 different narratives. I want the best plate racer that is still alive, which is Dale Earnhardt Jr., one of the 2 best plate racers to ever live, right? You agree with that?
Yes.
So give me his opinion, and I don't want anybody else's. Nothing against all those other guys.
I think you're right. I think good stand-ins would be whoever won a lot of races at that racetrack with Dale Jr. or Jeff Burton. So, like going to Bristol, they should bring in Darrell Waltrip. Going to Martinsville, Harry Gant or somebody like that. They bring in these guys. Or, hey, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson won a lot of races. They bring in these guys that's won a lot of races there. Dale Jr. probably is one of the best speedway racers there is that, can talk about it, but he needs somebody to feed with him, and he needs that really amped up guy. So I go back and watch the races, or they play on my TV every week, and I just like they do us, I critique it, and I think about how can we make the regular race fan enjoy it or understand it better, right? And you're right. You want Dale Jr. because he's so smart. They might need somebody that's just like average or somebody that can help Dale Jr. to bring it into him. But, yeah.
And this is only for super speedways. I love what they do everywhere else, but I don't care what Steve Letarte has to say at Talladega or Daytona.
See, I like Steve Letarte's because he's telling you about the fuel. They take less fuel. Why is this car doing that?
Yeah, but that's what Stevie did. He understands that side more. Now, he's way better than Dale Jr. is. I can tell you that.
Crew chief is saying 2 tires, 4 tires, gas only.
Not no more. Not anymore. I agree. So you need to come spot for this new car because it is a bunch of times that it is like to his point.
I'm just talking about super speedways.
Same thing. It's the same thing. Less fuel. The other day, 3 seconds of fuel. We took less, hoping that Chandler would be in the middle of the pack. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because we knew it'd be less fuel, right? So we took less than what we needed. So that it's so variables difference. Like Michigan, the reason 17 car won is because he got ahead of the strategy of when he took the most amount of fuel. So the last stop, he took the least amount of fuel. Because the pit stops are so fast now, they can't get them full.
Right.
So they have to do that.
That's how we finished.
I will agree with you back in the day when fuel was faster than the stops. Now the stops are faster than fuel, so they have to change up how they do it.
That's what happened at the Glen. We jumped a lot of cars at the end on pit road because we took less fuel. We come out front of them, and then you can't pass there really that much anymore. We cycled in front of a lot of cars. That's how the game is now. So
I've seen a lot of people. Maybe I saw it more so because it was happening on Long Island, but a lot of people complaining about the race being blacked out in their area for NFL preseason games.
That's ridiculous, but it's ratings.
But for sure you're not gonna. But like where I don't know. Normally when that happened, like it would be on USA or CNBC or something. Like I've seen people having to go to Peacock, I think, to watch it. Like, that's something that's got to be fixed, I would think.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think that's something that always happens, though.
I know.
We always have this
doesn't make
issue.
it right.
One thing I will say, Brett, to your point, NBC did a good job of tying in Jeff Burton and Dale's responses or reactions to some of the action from Daytona. Like they posted yesterday footage from the booth where they were reacting to some of the wrecks. And that is such a cool perspective for guys who have been in those cars and been in those wrecks. I think that is something that actually does well. I've looked at it 5 times already.
I think Sunday or Saturday, the Cup races are different because they're so freaking long in general. Like the Xfinity race was fast. Like, I don't know. As a spotter, I appreciate Dale Jr.'s insight.
Agreed.
I think they get too much information sometimes too. Like if they didn't have as much information, it would be way, way more exciting. I was talking to Jeff Burton over the last couple of weeks, and he's like, he gets so much information, just so much that he can't keep up with it all.
Right.
Well, on the opposite side, let's chat about the Birch Gold That's Gold Award. Don't forget, you can get a free info kit on protecting your IRA or for 401k with gold by texting DBC to 989898. Who wins this week's award?
I forgot we had a That's Gold Award.
That's
Chris,
gold.
This is where we give it to somebody who did something stellar.
I think I'm going to give my That's Gold Award to TJ and Brad Keselowski
I knew that
for
was coming.
pushing the 17 to the line and not screwing anything up, so we didn't get knocked out of the playoffs on the last lap at Daytona. So thank you, Brad. Thank you, TJ. Whoever made that decision, you guys get my That's
We
Gold
wanted that
award
award,
this week.
Freddie. That's what we were going
That's
for.
what you were going for this week?
Across the line, I was screaming at Brad, we're going to get the Birch Gold Award.
My That's Gold Award's a tie. It's William Byron and Martin Truex. They're tied for the points lead. Obviously, William won the most races. Martin won the regular season. They're probably the two fastest guys. They're gold.
Chris, do you have one?
Oh, no, I was waiting on TJ.
Oh, TJ, sure.
I'm still thinking about it.
TJ's usually still thinking too, so I go for him last.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who played that race out smart the whole first half of the race and ended up with a solid finish because of it. Go ahead, Chris. I can't remember.
Mine is Freddie for getting
whoa.
Bubba Wallace to thank him so many times after the race, but obviously done something good. Like, so I would say it's not easy trying to race, spot, and figure out who's going to win when you're sitting up there, because that is a tough situation, because you got crew chiefs hollering in your ear. You got, I know Booty, he come from the same town I did. So, like, yeah, mine would be Freddie and probably the Bubba Wallace group, just because odds were against them probably more than they were for him when the 34 won, right? Like, that was a big deal that when the 34 won. So, yeah, it would be that group and probably mainly Freddie, because he probably had to keep Bubba composed, I guess would be the easiest way, because Bubba can lose his composure pretty quick.
Well, that's the thing, too, people don't realize. We, spotters at that particular style of racing, we know more than the drivers know. We can see more than the drivers can see. They came through the trial. Well, I don't remember who had Kyle Busch jacked up, but he almost wrecked Kyle Busch. They were on the top side of the
You
front.
asked Chandler, did he see it?
And I said, Chandler, you see Kyle Busch almost get wrecked right there? And it's 3 cars in front of him. He's like, no, I didn't see it. And so it just reminded me of, we're obviously trying to help them make blocks. We're trying to help them push as hard as they can and not run over the car in front of them, help them miss wrecks. But a lot of that race, you're just trying to manage their mental processing of what's going on so they're not in there freaked out, because they can't see.
I was thinking about it, and I got to give it to all the people behind the scenes at RFK from where we were last year to where we are now. Chris having 3 out of the last 5 races he's won, and to be 5th and 6th in the points right now is a remarkable. The couple races ago had led more laps in that race than they had led in how many years? So I got to give it to all them people that are behind the scenes, that have worked there for years, that are realizing, that see what's capable now, and to be putting in the effort to be getting these wins and kind of be the underdog, but proven to be there at the end of these races, man. Building fast race cars, putting the time in, and making it happen.
Moving on to DBC picks. I suppose I'll let Freddie win this week with Buescher, unfortunately.
That's another reason. Thanks for pushing, TJ. Appreciate that.
Yep.
I think Brett had Keselowski.
I did. I finished 2nd. Everybody I picked sucks.
TJ, you still have 10 wins. I have 7 wins. Brett has 5, and Freddie has 5. Shout out to the person who made that website.
Yeah, Mike, I believe is his name.
That was awesome.
DBCpicks.com. He not only put how many wins everyone has, but consistency. So, like, Brett, even though you picked Keselowski, you get more points than the rest of it. It's interesting. Go check it out.
I appreciate it. And also, I really like the picture he used for me. I think Brett would appreciate it as well. So, really, thank you so much. That was awesome. Moving on to Darlington. TJ, you get to go first.
I'm going to go ahead. If I'm going to cap this championship off again, I'm going to go William Byron.
Ooh.
He's fast.
We're raced for the championship now, so.
How many you got to get to lock us out? Another 5. We're up by 3 on Casey and 5 on us.
Yeah.
Who's
it's
next?
pretty much not going to happen for you. Just go ahead.
I will take Hamlin.
Kyle Larson.
Kevin Harvick.
Damn.
Who you got? Who wins the race? You can pick anybody you want.
I can?
Yeah.
Kyle Busch.
He'll be fast.
I thought about picking him. So now we are in the playoffs. Let's make
Surprised
predictions.
nobody picked Martin.
I'm saving
Or
him.
did anybody pick Hamlin?
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
Martin's been a little quiet here lately. A little quieter, but
I mean, he
Byron
did get
has
the regular
too.
season championship, so.
Well, they're getting ready to
Right.
ramp it up. They
I
ain't
know.
been quiet.
Yeah.
They won 9 races
Yeah,
between
but
two
I
of
mean, the
them.
last 2-3
But
weeks,
they're getting ready to ramp it up.
he's been average the last 3 weeks.
So, let's make championship 4 predictions.
Oh.
Chris.
Who are the final 4?
And I have the standings. I have the standings on one of the pages. On the
Oh,
back side
let me
of
see that.
DVC picks.
Let me
Final
see that.
4.
Final 4 is the 19, 24, the 5, and the 22.
Wow. You think Logano comes from deep in the field?
Oh, yeah. Logano somehow or another pulls in belts tight when it's time to go and makes it happen. Somehow or another, he always does.
P11 in the standings. It's an uphill battle from a points perspective.
And the speed lately they've had.
Because these bottom half of these guys, they can't have a problem this week.
Mm-mm.
If you hit the wall too hard at Darlington, or if you have a bad restart, you get wrecked, you're done. You're going to be in a must-win situation on race 2.
Yep. But if you think about the races coming up, Joey Logano normally runs pretty average at, and that's all he's got to do the first 3, and then he
That's
gets
all you
pretty
gotta
good.
do,
You just got to run average.
No mistakes in the first round.
Yes.
Darlington, Kansas, Bristol. Who
Brett.
you got, Freddie? Me? I mean, look, the 24 and 19 are just sitting on a bunch of points, so you can't mathematically not pick them. And for personal reasons, I want to see Denny Hamlin win a championship, so I'll pick him. He's a Virginia boy, and he's got everything. He's got everything checked off.
Personal reasons.
Yeah, I like Denny.
Okay.
Yeah. He buys a lot. He buys me and Freddie a lot of Fireball when he wins.
Jesus.
And I'll say Kyle Busch.
Okay. I like it.
Freddie.
I'm going to say 19, 11, obviously. He's great. 5, 20.
Wow, no 24.
Nope.
Interesting. TJ.
24, if you look at his finishes, I didn't even realize it, but you look at his finishes, like it's a win, and then it's nothing but 20s. And
He was going to win Darlington the last 2 times.
Who's
got
that?
wrecked.
William?
He won last round here.
Yeah, and this
yeah.
race last year, he was
Yeah.
going to win and got wrecked.
Oh, yeah. Who,
I got the top 2 are pretty lights out. They were consistent. William, even in the back at the Indy Road Course, just ran a smart race all day, drove back up to a solid finish with no stages, things like that. That's a strong run for him. So I got to go 24-19. Oh, man, I feel like 8 and 5.
No RFK cars.
I mean, I
I'm
feel like if I
shocked.
pick someone, I'm jinxing them, and I'm not jinxing them. So
Interesting.
who's going to be out?
This week,
4 this round.
after the first round,
Yeah.
that's a good man.
47-23.
You, Chris.
Do you feel like?
I think McDowell makes it. I think McDowell makes it to the next round. He's too fast. He's been too
I
fast.
think Bubba Wallace can win Kansas.
We did last year.
I know.
We've won playoff races the last 2 years.
I had to pick somebody. You want me to pick the 19 and 24 with the most points? I'm picking the people with the least amount of points, for crying out loud.
Ryan Blaney, man, it's like they got a black cloud on.
Yeah, I would say 23-4, 47 and 12.
If the 47 can go out and run top 20 the next 3 weeks, he'll have a legitimate chance to make it. Because people are
Absolutely.
going to screw up.
Yeah, he's ran well this year, man. We finally got back to where we were racing with him, and that means you're racing 15th to 20th every week.
Yeah.
And remember, Ricky Stenhouse is really good at Bristol. So, you got to keep that
Still
in mind.
can't pass.
Yeah.
Not him. You just can't pass.
Yeah, just in general.
So you got to. The problem with going to Bristol is you got to have the complete package. Well, the complete package is the best pit crews in the garage. That's one thing that Freddie, their new team, they don't have the best pit crews. The guys with the best pit crews are up here in the top 6, 7, 8.
Good point. What can they do to make it where we can pass at Bristol?
They're working on it. I mean, they're gonna have to change something. Dude, we changed so much at that Richmond test and worked really hard. It's just that we got to figure it out.
Minimal results.
I mean, I think it comes down. We got to slow down. You got to lift more, to be able to pass.
because if you're lifting, you're not handling as good.
That's right.
Yeah.
Chris, are you hearing anything on the 2024 season and schedule?
I've heard a little bit, yes. Yep.
Anything new and anything interesting that we
There's
can
a lot
look
of
for?
new.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of stuff that people going to like, and I think it's going to be some stuff that people don't like. I was held to secrecy on some of the stuff, so yeah, I think that, the things that NASCAR is trying to do. I looked around this weekend at Daytona at the young fans that we have, so it's working. Like we went to the North Turn, and it was a young lady and her fiance, and they recognized Matt. So I mean, we're getting new fans each and every week. So the places we're going, they're trying to generate the new fan, I guess is the best way to put it.
I heard Brett. I heard might have a doubleheader next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's.
We need more weekends off, so if that means we got to do double headers, let's do them.
Yeah.
Freddie,
for
I
crying
heard
out
the
loud.
double header. The race starts on Thursday and goes till Sunday. That's not really a double header.
Is it really?
That's what I heard.
That's
I
mean, it's possible. But no,
I mean,
to
it's
your
an
point,
Olympic year.
it's the Olympic year, so we're probably
Yeah.
going to get that double off weekend, I would assume, and that's the way to make up for it is to have a doubleheader.
We're all going to be lost by that second weekend again.
You still here in Richmond
possibly, yeah.
or something else?
Just that Richmond.
Probably a Wednesday and Sunday, just so you know.
That'd be fine.
Do
The
you-
Saturday, Sunday was not a big hit.
What, but
Not a
neither was the
Thursday to Sunday?
Wednesdays either.
And they're probably two different racetracks. Think about it. We can do it easily.
Yeah.
Oh, local, closer.
We can do it super easy. North
Yeah.
Wilkesboro, Charlotte, something like that. You can
Yeah,
do something
Martinsville,
pretty.
Richmond, yeah.
Martinsville, Richmond.
Yeah.
And I mean, your fans could have a package to where they go to both places. So that'd be something cool.
You could do, and I've always said that we should look at doing this from a logistics standpoint. You could easily do Vegas, Fontana, Vegas, Phoenix.
3 hours.
Man, yeah, they're not far from each other.
Three
I
and a
know
half hours.
Fontana's up in question marks with. What are you hearing on Fontana? Anything?
I ain't heard nothing about it.
No, I do. I missed that track already.
If
though.
tickets aren't for sale, then we're obviously not going.
We're
in the
not going
spring.
next year. Yeah, we're not.
So,
going
I mean,
next
that's-
year. the only thing I heard
that's-
rumors about.
That's unfortunate.
I heard
It
rumors
is.
about them moving Sonoma to the West Coast swing the beginning of the year, which I think would be amazing because that'd be the first time we ever see it when it's green.
Yeah.
You always see those pictures and you can't believe that's the same place we
It
go
is,
to in
yeah.
the middle of the summer.
I've always wanted to go in like October when all the grapes are on the vine. I think it'd be cool.
Really?
Because when we go, it's brown and
I don't
dry.
think I'd
Which
even
this
notice.
year it was more green than it has been.
Had a little bit.
yeah, the
Yeah.
guy, we ran into somebody somewhere, and the guy said like it took longer this year, like it stayed longer.
It
than
rained
usual.
longer, stayed cooler longer. So yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool though to get that out of the
Well,
way.
Darlington is one of the best racetracks in the world, in my opinion. It's obviously my home track. I grew up 45 minutes from there. It eats tires. It creates good racing. You're not going to go out there and win a pole and win a race because you're lucky at Darlington. It's not going to happen.
Nope. We
Still gotta have the best
we
pit
had
crews.
Yeah, we had a good run. We qualified second, we finished fifth the first
Talk
race,
talk
so.
about that for a minute. Like we hear that a lot. Obviously, 2311's talking about going to their own pit crews. You and I have personally talked about you going to your own pit crews. What kind of investment is that? Is it $1 million bucks? Is it more than that?
It's way more than that. We do own our own pit crews. They work with Trackhouse, so we have a deal with Trackhouse where they work out with Sean Pete under the Trackhouse Entertainment. So we have our own pit crews. They're our own pit crews that we own, and we have they're all signed up for 3-year contracts. It's a lot of money. I know Denny's talking about what he's going to do, and it's time, right? Like you're not going to get anybody to leave Hendrick or RFK or somewhere that's been there forever with all their benefits and everything they do, and you just got to go get these young guys. And that, I mean, at the end of the day, the 45 team had not the 45 team, the 54 team had the best pit stop. But it was because they were the older groups that probably come off the 11 car or come off the 18 car back in the day. So it wasn't like they were brand new. It's just such a big investment, man. It's and people, and it's not the investment the first year or the second year. It's the 10 years that you got to be there because they're not going to come and just be there for a year. They got to be there for a while.
Yeah,
And you have to do it, right? I
You
mean,
have to do it.
Like you can't just rely on getting the fourth best crew from RCR or whoever you're relying.
No.
That's what Denny did. We were going to be always getting the fifth and sixth best pit crew.
Well, that's why we went and done our own.
Yeah.
If we would have kept the way we did last year, we would just get the third or fourth best pit crew. We had to go own our own pit crew under the banner of Trackhouse and them training them because they have an amazing training facility and it helps those guys. But yeah, you have to do it. And the 16 group has been amazing. I think they've averaged about 12th to 15th. They've been pretty good. But it goes back to how race cars got to be good because you can't do adjustments. If you think about it, they can't do an adjustment and be a fast pit stop. It's a lot that goes into it.
I think the other point too with your pit crew situation is if somebody gets hurt or misses a race on a Joe Gibbs Racing pit crew, and it's a tire changer, they're going to pull the best tire changer at 2311 to take his place.
Oh, yeah, all day.
Yeah.
Yep,
Which
all day.
also messes up your pit crew pit stop because they work differently together.
That's right.
I mean, it's like a play call,
Yeah.
right?
We have a good, so like the one car I think is the only car out of our 4 cars. So they actually have the best pit crew, which is good. But we all have an agreement that if one of their guys get hurt, we take the best next guy, whoever that is. It could be on the 99, it could be on the 31, it could be on the 16. We have that in our agreement to make all 4 of us stronger, that's how I wanted it to work. Ty Norris worked with me. Justin Marks worked with me pretty hard. So, like, it actually worked out really well. And we have a 5th pit crew that does the 91 car and does our 13 car. So it's a lot that went into the pit crews at our place and Trackhouse together.
You mentioned Joe Gibbs there for a second, and I had the pleasure of getting my first Joe Gibbs win one for the Gipper speech the other night, like, holy shit. I was ready to tackle everybody in the trailer. Like, he got up there and was just talking about teamwork, but the amount of energy he had, and he was like, it's not hard to believe that man has won Super Bowls in his day, because I was literally ready to tackle Hirschman standing next to me when he was done talking. Like, it was unbelievable, and just appreciative of him. Like, you always see Coach kind of walking around, and he's always kind of even keel, and when he got in there and was fired up and was firing us up, I was ready to run through a wall when that was over. So that was a fun experience for me.
That's cool. Chris, we appreciate you stopping by, brother.
Yeah.
Don't
Thanks
wait
for
2
having
years
me.
next time.
Well, I'll try to come earlier. Thanks for having me. It's always cool to listen to you guys. I don't listen to you when
literally, it's not that cool.
No, it's definitely not that cool. But when y'all are beating up on me or Kaulig Racing, I try to turn it off. But I do get the text messages, so. But that's okay. I can be your what idiot. I did call out Freddie, so. But no, thank you to Dale Jr. for doing this, because it does inform the race fans. I love all y'all's fans, even though some of them don't like me. But that's okay.
What?
Hopefully,
likes
I
you.
hope that this is the most downloaded one this year.
Hopefully.
So I can
Usually is.
wait 2 years. So, but no, thanks, and thanks for all the behind the scenes guys and girls that do the work. Y'all sit through this sauna. You guys are all 10 pounds lighter, and I appreciate it. I got to go take a shower now.
Well, let's not forget, we have a really cool experience thanks to Dirty Mo Media in Las Vegas at Westgate Resorts. Brett, you want to share a little bit more?
I've been wanting to come to that, but you wanted to charge me. I'm not being charged.
I get you in. Maybe get you on stage. Yeah, we've got, Westgate Resorts is hooking race fans up with an awesome experience. Dale Jr. is coming. VIP package. You can get an autographed Dale Jr. item, sit basically front row. And general admission tickets are also for sale. So, it's going to be a fun live show with DBC and Dale Jr. downloads. So, check it out.
Well, we're heading to Darlington. Brett's probably going to – are you going down there at all?
No, I'm probably going to stay home and watch this one on TV.
You're not going to get you no peach enchilada?
Well, no, I would. That's what I was going to say. It's probably not a bad idea for you. You know, because you've always this is your home track,
It
right?
is,
Like,
yep.
and one day next year when you're full-time spotting again, you'll have to come down, and so
when you go through McBee, South Carolina, there's a place on the left on the way to the racetrack.
I don't go that way.
Oh, well, you should, because they got a peach enchilada, and it's peach with ice cream, and it's the best thing ever. McLeod's Farms is the name of it.
That sounds
Where's it
disgusting.
at, McBee?
Yeah, McBee.
Don't speed in McBee.
Don't speed in McBee.
How do you say that in Spanish?
You don't.
Como se dice McBee?
That.
That's it.
All right. Well, we appreciate y'all listening. Chris, thanks for stopping. Casey, thanks for being on time today. We love you.
Appreciate it.
We
Have
out.
a great week.
Holla.